Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 2 of the Mid-America Outdoor Side-by-Side Championship Series and round 1 of the Mid-America Outdoors Truck Championship Series. We have some great stuff coming your way. Welcome to Lucas Oil Speedway. We're in Wheatland, Missouri. This is a spectacular complex. Of course, this purpose-built short course track is second to none, a little bit more than 1 mile, but it also houses a purpose-built drag boat track. There's also a beautiful diamond of dirt tracks here as well. I'm Ken Stout, Dave Arnold sitting right alongside. It is great to be back at this racetrack. It's a special place to say the least. We have a lot of great memories here. We've had a lot of great racing here, and we're going to have a lot more here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of my favorite tracks. There's so many big undulations, jumps out there, the big sweeping turns, the Daytonas, the Talladegas. Love the whip section. It's one of my favorite. Watching these guys try to time this and get in there, it's just absolutely incredible.
So with more ado here, let's talk about this track. Forget about that. Let's show you what this place looks like. It is beautiful. So we start off on the starting line and charge down into a large sweeping race line turn number 1. Then we head up over the huge jump in the back, 120-foot tabletop, and down into a high-speed left-hand turn. That will take us to the Johnny K's over-under, and then eventually into the Project X whoops right here. Trucks will get a little huck-a-buck here if they can't keep things straightened up, and then through a 180-degree left-hander, head up over a jump, and then they'll go into this 6, 7, 8 turn complex, and then eventually go back to the underneath as they head in to the final turn and back around for the MRT start
I'm
finish
beyond
line.
excited to be here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and as a first-timer, wow, this place is impressive. Today we kick off round 2 of our side-by-side series and round 1 of our truck series. As the trucks hit the track for the first time later today, I was able to chat with CJ Greaves, and it is his first time in 10 years he is going to competitively race a pro light truck. He said one of his sponsors called him up and asked if he wanted to drive it, and it was a no-brainer. Despite it being a borrowed truck, he was able to go through it top to bottom and set it up the way he likes as much as he could. I'm curious to see how everything plays out in both series today, but regardless, it'll be a great day of racing.
And we thank Erica Allred for that. She's done a great job here so far today. We'll keep her busy all weekend long. But as we get going here with opening ceremonies, we're going to kick it down for our invocation and Alan Johnson.
So if you would please stand, remove your hats, and bow your head as we go before the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts. We thank you for these racers, this incredible track, the family and support team. We thank you that we get to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. We ask a special blessing today for the safety of the course workers, for the drivers, for the fans as they're coming and going. And Father God, we ask that everything we do on the course and off the course honors and glorifies you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And at this time, we would kindly ask everybody to remain standing with their hats off as we play the most beautiful song in the world, our national anthem. Should be recording. And we are back here on track. Welcome to Lucas Oil Speedway. Once again, Dave Arnold sitting alongside, and as you can see, we do have cars on track. This is our Expert Turbo category, and they are qualifying out here. The format a little bit different than what we typically would run at Mid-America Outdoors in Jay, Oklahoma. First time that they ventured out to another track here with this series, so they're expanding as well. So a little bit different here for qualifying, and then they'll have 2 races here over the weekend. We'll race some of the classes here tonight, and then tomorrow we have a fairly tight timeline to get everybody in. A lot of classes. I mean, the better part of 15, 16 classes. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of entries, too. It's actually a record entries. 237 people signed up here to come race at Lucas Oil Speedway. And everybody's talked about back from when the Lures used to come here. This is a pro-level track. I know you've referred to that in the past. And it's great to see with the qualifying, these guys are getting more time out there. It's also giving them, of course, a greater starting position going to race 1.
Yeah, we're going to have a couple of different groups out here that qualify in this Expert Turbo category. Better part of 24 cars here have already earned points this season. So a big class, in fact, our largest class as we kicked off round number 1. Congratulations to Austin Dinger, who had a great weekend, finished first in the first moto, second moto, and earned overall points. It looks like they put a fair amount of water down on the track to try and keep this thing nice. You can see some of the drivers there sliding around, actually staying up out of the mud. Not a bad idea there either, as we take a look at that Johnny K's over-under shot.
Yeah, definitely. You can see on some of the up bank turns, water's running right down to that bottom. These guys have been using that bottom. And I talked to a couple of drivers. I know I saw you walking around earlier, talking to them. They're saying it's been great. Now, tire selection's been real critical at this track. Whether they go the knobbies, or they go the Hoosier style, or like a flat track style tire. These things don't have the knobbies. They're more of a small knobby on there, but they still give lots of traction. But when these guys get a lot of water, by this track, when it dries out, it tends to blue groove. Now, the thing about qualifying is you don't want to get next to anybody. You don't want it to be really wet. You want to get those fast times. So it's kind of a little contradictory with some of these drivers. They're trying to dice with each other.
So this will be a 10-minute session here, and we have broken the field up into a couple of different groups. So we'll see the other half of this large class here for Expert Turbo in just a little bit. John Calagaro right now goes to the top of the time sheets as they are just now starting to record their first laps. Things will pick up for sure as this track starts to dry out. They have not seen conditions like this. I mean, they just watered this track. It's been spot on all day long. So you can see a good bit drier right there as they make their way out of that large high bank Talladega turn, and then, of course, head up over to that big tabletop. They were clearing that tabletop no problem earlier in practice.
Yeah, it gets a little on the face of the jump's a little wet, and the land's a little wet. I think they're probably just holding back just a little bit. You don't want to screw up in qualifying. It's going to end your time run. You might get stuck at the end of the line, and that's really going to make it difficult in this track, especially with this many guys in the class, Ken. It's going to get busy out there. That's where we have broke them up into 12 here, and then the other 12 are going to go next here. Now, one of the things about this track for sure, it's a special mixture of dirt. There's a lot of clay in there, so it can get slick when it gets wet. And that's why you see it. That's one thing they pride themselves on their circle track is their mixture. It's always, every track has their secret sauce.
Yeah, some of these drivers really struggling here. Again, you can see how tight that car is. The number 41 of Elliott Knowles. A lot of wheel into that thing, trying to get it to turn. You don't want to back it in here and spin yourself out, much like you were saying before, Dave. So you don't want to get too aggressive with it, but you don't want to get to a situation where it won't turn either. Keep in mind, these things are all-wheel drive. They have spools in the back. They inherently do not want to turn, so you want to kind of back them in, but you need to know that you have a little bit of grip there, and right now that grip is just not there.
Yeah, I bet a lot of drivers now will probably rethink when they go in. I know when they went out, they said, oh, man, the track was dry. It was perfect. Now they put some water down. It could change to the next class, so it's going to come down to your tire choice, or do you groove? I know we talked to Cody Miller, and he talked about, he's not sure if he's going to leave the Hoosiers on, maybe go a little aggressive on the front with a little bit more grooving, and this could be, come into play when the track's a little wet like this.
Yeah, I mean, if they weren't anticipating the really wet conditions, they've missed it by a mile. And I'm curious to see what they do here with group qualifying. They have Group 1 and Group 2, so needless to say, Group 2 is going to have a much different track than Group 1 is going to have here as we keep an eye on the number 211 right there. That is Joel Smith, who's yet to record a time. Right now, P1 is Michael Green at a time of 1:35.75, and those lap times have already dropped down from 1:43, so shaved off the better part of 8 seconds here just early on in this session with about 6 minutes to go.
And that's going to be real key. I'm going to actually write this down to take a look. 135.7, Kit. So we kind of judge a little bit better after they've, just watered the track down. Next group out, we could see it a little bit quicker. And I know that's going to probably frustrate some of the drivers in the first session. You guys put the water. But that's unfortunately sometimes a gamble you take in racing. You don't know what the conditions you're going to get from lap to lap. Now, if you wait, let it dry out a little bit, the track starts to come into itself.
Yeah, the 31 there, Matt Hecker, you could see had over-rotated, was nosed into the tire there, I believe it was. So unfortunately for him, we'll have to back things up and get going again. Another good look at the number 211 of Joel Smith, trying to find some grip, trying to get some. That's kind of a fluid little motion in there. I always call that 6, 7, 8 complex because really those two turns, that right and that left, when you nail them right, you kind of slide through the first one, set yourself up, slide through the second one, and get a good run out. But again, track conditions are not like what they were racing on right here, but they are slowly coming back in.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that one. That combination is real critical because it is, it's like serpentine the way through, but it's actually, slide, a little bit of drifting going around. These guys trying to go around. So we're going to see Michael Green, who's actually dropped back down. John Killigrew has gone back to the top position at P1, but it's just I said that Michael Green just answered back and said, no, John, that's mine.
Yeah, pretty cool there. So Michael Green throwing it right back at him, doing a good job here so far in this particular session out of Tumble, Texas, 26 years old, behind the wheel of the Can-Am. The Texas Express CNC sponsorship on him. Again, Calagru in the P2 spot, Rickles P3 right now. And you can see them starting to carry some speed now. Things are starting to pick up in some of the areas where the track starts to dry out.
Yeah, these first couple laps have been a little difficult. We still got about 7 minutes to go for qualifying here. I'm going to say when we get down to 3-4 minutes, that track's going to slowly get back and get in condition. It dries out quickly. There's not a lot of wind, so it's not sucking the moisture, but it is, a little dry. The sun comes out every once in a while and will dry out some of the spots, but this track really absorbs the moisture in nicely and quickly.
Nice job right there, kind of diming that turn off is the 121 of Michael Green. Squares it up, gets all 4 tires facing in the direction that he wants to go. So he's driving around this track. You can actually see it pick up the inside rear tire. So he's really getting this thing rotated quickly so he can get all 4 tires driving off.
Yeah, you want to get down. You want to get as much footprint down you can to get that. And this is a great perspective right now. If we go up with the drone, we can get overhead, and you can kind of see their lane choices when they come around. We can see the setup there. And again, you're right. They are picking up speed here. Certain sections are drying out. There's some areas where a little water is still laid down. Michael Green still holding on to P1. That's 2 laps in a row. John going to come back, and we'll see if he can hold on to it.
And we're a yellow flag there for the 121 of Michael Green, as it looks like they are ending up this session here about 50 seconds early. By the way, John Calagro is the man behind Johnny K's Power Sports, based out of Ohio, 4 different locations. They're fielding 5 cars here, including some guy named Tim Farr, who is part of that team. And John, just about to turn 50 years old here, doing this with his family, has 2 of his kids out here inside of cars as well. So Addison and Stefano, and also Jake Frederick, who works at Johnny K's Power Sports and running in this same category. So pretty cool to see. He's one of our sponsors as well. Yeah. Pretty cool to see him come out here with his family, fielding 5 cars, sponsoring this effort as well, and part of the MAO series. So we thank John for all of his support.
And he's really showing this is truly a family sport, and friends that all come out. Not a lot of guys are getting paid. Their buddies coming out, helping out. And this is a true stepping stone amateur programs. We got the amateurs, of course, these are the experts, and of course we have the pros. So we're going to take a look and see how the expert turbos shook out here. Michael Green, of course, held on to that P1 position. John Killigrew, he's going to be in that P2, followed by Kendra Hoop, and it looks like it's cleared out on us there. I missed the screen. So that's the top 3 qualifiers.
Yeah, so that'll wrap up that section there for that first group. And, again, we'll bring out the second group here of Expert Turbo. Great stuff. As talked about before, Austin Dinger doing a great job there at round number 1. 3 wins and, of course, 2 wins and grabbed that overall. That's the way they work the format here. And without going too far down the rabbit hole, typically what they will do is run race number 1. And then, of course, based on that finishing position is how you will start race number 2. They'll do a combined points of those 2 races, basically like golf, the lowest scores. So if you finish first and first, you would have a score of 2, and you would be the overall winner. So that's how they worked it. And Austin Dinger did exactly that. In fact, had a score of 2, so won the overall in the opening round. And then it was Will Harris who finished 10th and 2nd, who had a great weekend as well. And Mickey Schroeder finished up on the podium the second round. So he's up there in the points. So that's how they work things. As you can see, Dinger right there, the number 88 out of Fort Worth, Texas. Top player there in round number 1. So we'll see how he does here as they come out for this second group of qualifying. See a Polaris RS1 in there, a number of different manufacturers. We will have predominantly Can-Ams in here, but there are a couple of Polarises along the way as well.
Yeah, and of course these Can-Ams come stock as, with turbos. And the Yamahas, that's an add-on part there, which they can, do to get into the turbo class. It's kind of great. It keeps another manufacturer involved with it out there. But,
yeah, and if you have one, Jason Weller will hook you right up,
absolutely.
And he's working in conjunction with Paul Yaw and Injector Dynamics. They've really developed the fuel system for those cars as well, so it's really a plug-and-play system. So, exhaust, turbo, the entire thing. You call them up, you order it, they send you all the right stuff. They send you the fuel system, the mapping that goes into the ECU. You can really have the thing dialed in pretty quickly, and there's a lot of mumbo-jumbo in there if you decide to do it yourself, or it could really go wrong. But 2 of the absolute best, Injector Dynamics, as good as they come, partners with Bosch. They are a worldwide technology company, so really good stuff.
Quite the injectors, too, I tell you that.
No
Yaw Injectors system. I know your son Robert ran those for a lot and saw him win a championship with those, so I know they work.
That's exactly right, and also part of the big trucks. We'll see the Pro Lights out here a little bit later on tonight, by the way. Make sure you stick around with us. They will have their first race a little bit later on tonight, a 10-lap race. But Injector Dynamics provides injectors for the Pro 2s, the Pro 4s, the Pro Lights. So, yeah, absolutely class act when it comes to that company. Paul Yaw and the rest of the gang there are incredible. Pretty doggone good with shocks, too, but I don't think that's a publicly serviceable company there. I think that's a select few. So.
Yeah, it's so important when you got a forced injection system turbo, whether it's supercharged or turbocharged. One of the things is you got to give it more air, you got to give it more fuel, and you got to get it to breathe. And I think those 3 combinations you pretty much just hit on.
So here comes Austin Dinger, our current points leader, coming into round number 2. The number 88 there right in front of us. Very talented driver, needless to say. Dinger Excavation and 360 Wraps, a couple of his sponsors, along with the Miller brothers. Those guys are pretty good from what I heard.
Yes, most definitely.
Nice outside in as he apexed the bottom of that turn, gets a good run here. That is the Johnny K's over-under. And needless to say, the over part, but able to slide up there, get a little bite off of that cushion as this track picks up steam, and a real good look there at the whoops as well. We talked about those before. You've got to have, we were just talking about dampers, just talking about shock package, so the Project X whoops here will show you just how violent that can be. But yeah, without those damper settings where you need them, that thing can really upset the car. It can break a lot of parts, in fact.
Yeah, definitely. Hard hits are going to do that. And I really think right now with these whip sections, I think in these expert and pro classes we're going to be seeing, I think it's going to be probably possible. That's where if you see someone charging, that could be someone's going to be seeing it on the podium.
So he was first one out of the gate. We'll see what type of, boom, there goes that 134, I think, that we saw out of Green. 128.72 already for Austin Dinger. And we knew this was going to happen. Yeah. This track is going to come to us. So it's just the way it goes when you've got so many cars out there. To put them all out there on the track at one time is not doing anybody justice there either as they get in each other's way. You want to give everybody a shot at a good, clean lap. And Dinger taking complete advantage of that right now. Good look at this, heading up over the big tabletop.
And that's a good strategy, too. You don't want to go dice with guys. They'll get in there and they'll say, oh, this guy's pushing me. I'm going to go catch this guy. Worry about your line. Hit your marks. Get your qualifying time. That's what it's about. Don't go out there and race. That's going to happen. You got to be smart about it.
Good look at that car through the whoop section and handling perfectly through the Project X off-road whoops. That's exactly what you want. Kind of kicking the back end up just a little bit, but seem to be happy with that. A lot of weight on the front end is able to really get it rotated into the turns.
And that's one thing also with these setups, the suspension is actually getting on the brakes, getting a little bit of nose pressure, getting that thing to rotate around, and the shock's going to be set up just perfect where you want the rear end not to lift up too much. You want to keep that traction down. You have the front wheels pulling you, and you got the rear wheels pushing you. So you got to get that happy medium.
Yeah, and you fight two different objects out here. You fight the big jumps, and you want the dampers to work one way there, and then you want them to work a different way when they go through the rhythm section. So those settings are critical, high speed and low speed settings inside of those dampers. A lot of these players will take these things apart and revalve them if they're not happy with them inside of the trailer, and it takes a little bit of work to get that done. But if you're going to play this game out here and be at the front of the pack, you need to learn how to do it. Number 93 rolling across here as well. That is Kyle Arkenau.
But the amazing thing is Grant Steffen just now knocked Kyle. He came right behind him and took it by almost about 0.7 of a second there. It's still close. The only one in the 126, though, is Austin Dinger. We got Grant Steffen who just doing a 127, and then Cooper Stewart back to a 128. Two guys in the 128. Kyle Arkenau also in that position. Look at this, 129, 129, 130s. We're getting groups of twos about a second apart.
Yeah, pretty interesting how it shakes out sometimes. By the way, Kyle Arkenau about to have a birthday here in a couple of weeks, so we wish him an early happy birthday. I'm sure a happy birthday for him would be qualifying on the pole here.
Yes, definitely. You want to give yourself that birthday present for sure.
They have not talked about doing an inversion here at all, and we'll see how things shake out for race number one and find out what race control has to do. They got plenty of tricks in the bag, but take a look at that, one of the Polaris RS1s there, the smaller center seat car. A couple of cars, you mentioned it before, a couple of cars getting together here is absolutely not what you want. I mean, it just seems to shake out that way. They did separate them at the beginning, but if you're a good bit faster than the guy in front of you, maybe the guy I should say driver, because there's guys and gals out here, and no shortage of really talented women out here, but all it takes is one slip up, one mistake, and you close that gap really quickly. But preferably, you want a nice, clean line with nobody involved.
Or you find the fast guy and follow him around, get behind Austin Dinger, figure out his line, see why he's turning it fast. Hopefully, the communication with the spotters up there in the tower. And if folks you don't know, all these drivers have to have a spotter over there. They have a listen-in radio. They're listening to race control, but they're able to talk back and forth to the driver, let them know if someone's inside or outside or back and, behind them or in front of them, or pick up your pace. You're a little low, a little high in each turn. Give them a little bit of advice and say, hey, watching Dinger, he's got some fast times right there. Maybe you may take this little turn a little bit different.
Cooper Stewart in the 447 out of Brooks, Georgia, has been racing for 7 years, competing in both ATVs and side-by-sides, earned a regional cross-country overall championship as well as a class championship. So a talented racer there. I saw him really carrying some good corner speed, again looking for grip. You could see one of the drivers there a little off pace, moved up high in the corner. I thought it was being respectful, but I think they just thought that there was some grip up there, and it did kind of pay off. Yeah,
he's looking for the tri-sections. And we're back on Austin Dinger again, taking a look at him as he comes around. And he is definitely 123 this time, a little under 3 seconds faster than our nearest competitor, Mickey Schroeder, in P2.
Yeah, Dinger definitely taking advantage of this. As we said before, first one out of the gate there, so he had good, clean track, and it really means a lot. Mickey Schroeder now into the 126 flat range, the number 444 car out of Pflugerville, Texas. 2022 was second in the points with 2 wins and 4 podiums. So another player there as we watch Dinger, and Dinger getting everything out of the back of that one. Really kicking the back of the car up probably a little bit more than he would like. Again, one of those damper settings, he might choose to change the back of that just a little bit more, but carrying good speed right there. Lifts up the inside rear tire. That's usually about all you can get out of one.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep all four down, but you're going to get a little bit of sway. You're going to get a little bit of lift like that. You know, when the cars are set up, sometimes we see with the front tires, like an old late model will come around three-wheeling. These UTVs tend to do it with the rear wheel.
Well, yeah,
crazy.
And I'll tell you, it really helps them rotate.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with go-kart racing on asphalt tracks, those have spools as well. So if they get into a corner to really get a go-kart to rotate, they lift up that inside rear tire at the entry of the turn just a little bit. So it does help them rotate. If you could get one in there, of course, you get it in there too hard, and it'll also bite you.
Yeah, it will definitely go up on the bike, or you catch one of the square-edged grooves, you're going to be going up and over. And these things definitely like to turtle.
Right down at the bottom of the apex is Dinger, shortest way around the track, and that's exactly what you want to do. The Talladega turn in the back over there, turn number 3, is huge. It's high banked, and it looks like a lot of fun. Great apex out of Dinger right there. He really opens up that left-hander and charges right down to the bottom of the turn, exactly what you want to do. Carry as much speed as you can. You want to open it up, straighten out the corner as much as you possibly can. Back through the rhythm section again. It is what it is. There's nothing he can do to change the setup in that car right now, so he's got to deal with it. It doesn't look like it's really bothering the car so much he can't drive it fast.
No, it's not really unsettling so much where it's out of control. That's what you got to be on the edge of out of control to actually make these cars work correctly. You got to use them full potential. If you don't push these cars, they will bite you back. That's one thing to keep in your head. It kind of sounds strange to say that, but you have to drive these cars' potential for them to handle correctly.
Dinger P1, Jacob Frederick. We talked about him being part of that 5-car effort out of Johnny K's Power Sports. Great job out of him to beat P2 right now. Cooper Stewart, P3, Mickey Schroeder, P4, and then Kyle Arcanaugh is P5. Dinger at a 122.6. Just keeps shaving the time off. Near 3-second gap between him and now Jacob Frederick, who jumps into the second spot ahead of Cooper Stewart.
Now, the crazy thing, I'm starting to see a little blue crew starting to form. This track has definitely changed. You can see the outside line. You can see a little dust out there as it goes around, gets out on the cushion coming around the setup. But the blue grove's really setting out. The water's kind of settling in some puddles in certain areas where the rest of the track is getting really quick. And I think Austin Dinger's figured out those lines. Going through another whip section, going through there through the Speed Sport sweeper to the left.
Yeah, nice, smooth, fluid motion there.
Really liking his lines, Ken. You talked about the setup here is so important. And this guy's just hitting the marks now.
Yeah, and that little bug flying overhead there, of course, that is the drone shot as it catches your eye. The long left-hand sweeper there runs it about a lane up, just enough to keep the car freed up. Yeah, I mean, clearly a very, very talented racer. I mean, no question about that.
I was going to say, you can't tell you, this guy has definitely got it down. And, you know, leading the points coming into this one. And first time at Wheatland, I got to say, I'm pretty impressed, especially with the time at 122.3. He's going to finish this one out.
Yeah, they're going to have to get after it if they're going to catch him here. Kyle Arcanaugh now has jumped up into the second spot. That is driver of car number 93. Excellent job out of him as well. As we talked about the birthday boy, or soon-to-be birthday boy, we go back and take a look at the number 201, 261, and that is Grant Stephen out of Yucca, Oklahoma. Another one of the Can-Ams here. Making his way around the final couple of turns. Jacob Frederick now P3 in the number 222. 2021 finished on the podium in Amateur Turbo in the last 3 races, so jumped up into Expert and also in Vet 40 Plus this year. So we'll find out how he does there. One of the car builders, one of the custom car builders at Johnny K's Power Sports. So you want to go racing out here? Give Johnny K a call, man. And Jake will go to work on a custom car for you. They've got Tim Farr in the shop. Tim Farr's as talented and successful as anybody on the property.
And one of the cool things is they really take a really good car and they make it that much better. And, of course, it's not just on the safety part, too, which they add, they reinforce the cages. They get those set up a little bit, but it's also setting up the car the way for handling, too. And that's what's so important.
So that'll wrap up that second group as well here in Expert Turbo. And, of course, that will set the lineup as they have their first moto a little bit later on. The Pro NAs are coming up next, and NA standing for naturally aspirated. So there's the Pro Turbo, there's a Pro Naturally Aspirated, meaning they are not allowed turbochargers. And we're going to show you what the weekend schedule looks like for this evening and tomorrow. Of course, you see the practice over there has already been taken care of a little bit earlier today. And we kicked off all the way over there on the right-hand side with the Expert Turbo Groups 1 and 2. Pro NA also separated by 2 groups, and Pro Turbo. Great turnout. Over 20 cars in both of our Pro NA and Pro Turbo categories. Great stuff. Pro Light trucks will qualify here in just a little bit. And then as you can see, we will start racing a little bit later on. Pro Lights will race approximately 7:30, so make sure you stay on board with us here. We've got a lot of stuff going on here, but the Vet 40 Plus NA category will be the first race of the weekend.
And, of course, Saturday's schedule will bring us back early in the morning. We're going to be getting going with the LCQ, the last chance qualifier for Expert Turbo. 9 a.m. back on air a few minutes before we'll get it started. So make sure you join us at 9 a.m. tomorrow, folks.
Yeah, we've got a lot of racing,
Yep.
man. It's all going to go down, and we'll be done relatively early tomorrow around 4:30 Central Time. So a lot of good stuff yet to come here tonight. Make sure you join us. Stay with us, I should say, and we'll be right back.
I thought you were trying to bring a point in, and then I was waiting for you to say the point.
And once again, we welcome you back to Lucas Oil Speedway for the Mid-America Outdoors Side-by-Side Racing Series. We are now qualifying with the Pro NA, naturally aspirated class. These are the big dogs here, but without the turbos. Coming out of round number 1, it was young 16-year-old Owen Van Eperen that showed everybody the way, won every time he was on the track, came out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Of course, his father, Rodney, also a champion out here in side-by-side. Extremely talented. Tyler Rimmerreed also had a great weekend as well, finished 3rd and 2nd in the first 2 motors for a 2nd overall. And Kyler Holcomb comes in here 3rd in the points as he finished up 8th and 3rd for a 3rd place overall out of round number 1.
Yeah, definitely impressive, these young. And Owen, tell you what, this kid is on fire. He's going to be one to watch in the naturally aspirated, of course, coming into this one, leading the points as always. But you got a target on your back at the new track, and drivers went back, did a little tuning on those vehicles. Now, these aren't what some people think of as the production 1000s. These things are the pro naturally aspirated. There is internal work done to these, so they're a little bit quicker than just say a plain stalker.
Yeah, that is exactly correct. And consequently, some of the drivers here a little bit better than what we'll see coming out of Expert. If you run an Expert, the next thing you want to do is go to Pro, of course, as we keep an eye on the number 17. That is Colin Truitt. Colin Truitt, extremely talented out here inside of these cars. In fact, our reigning 2022 Pro NA champ, 10th season behind the wheel of side-by-side. And his father also competes out here as well and does a really nice job. I found it somewhat amusing because as we take a look at him in a Polaris RS1, everybody said, you know what, I think the track at Jay, Oklahoma, home of Mid-America Outdoors, is more conducive to a Yamaha. However, the class is loaded with Polarises.
I know.
We see Owen Van Everett show up with the Yamaha, and guess what, man? Boom, boom, boom.
Just takes it, man. That's what it
proves
is.
the theory, right?
Well, I'm also looking at these times right now. Look at that, at 1:22. That's faster than the turbos and the Can-Ams and the Polarises.
It is, and I think a piece of that, it's a combo, right? I think this track is still coming in.
Yeah.
But we also have somebody with the talent of Colin Truitt. We talked about Tyler Rimmerreed being second of the points, coming in here, having a great weekend around number one. He's currently P number 2. So, and he's a little bit more than a second, 1.2 off. And then Cross Kirchmeier inside. Cross Kirchmeier, and then it says Curtis Kirchmeier as well. So, curious if, in fact, that might be a typo, because I know for sure there is a Curtis Kirchmeier in car number 13 out of Arlington.
And I believe there is a Cross. I've seen them race in one of our series. I can't remember offhand which one it was. Might have been Lore's.
Cross number 75. You're absolutely correct. So,
I remember
2022 Texas Outlaw Series Pro NA champion, in fact. So Cross and Curtis out here duking it out, both of them inside of the top 5, as once again we watch our reigning champ from 1 year ago.
Yeah, I believe he ran in Arizona a few times with us, and that was a good time there for sure. It's great to see these guys coming around. But, you know, I got to tell you, Colin Truitt right now is amazing. But I think you're right. I think it is a combination of the tracks. I'm seeing quite a few drivers into the 123s and 124s now. And 124 out of our first group of the turbos in Expert class. Now, these are pros, so I'm going to say that's a little thing, you know, one step up, show you what a pro can do. But these Experts are fast drivers. They're one step off.
Carson Vale currently P5 and the number 999. Carson just having a birthday here a couple of days ago. So we wish him a happy birthday as well, as he turns the ripe old age of 15.
I know.
Yes, I said 15.
Yeah, these young kids are just incredible. I see a lot of these young drivers are coming up. And speaking of that, I've talked to a couple of them. One of them started pro light racing at 14. Now he's 17. Yee! And it's just incredible to see these young kids that have these talents. Going back to, you know, I hate to say it, but the Sheldon Creeds back in the day at 14 and just putting a whooping on people in the pro classes.
So that was Tyler Rimmerreed, who was up on the bike there for just a moment, and Colin Truitt's about to go by. Matter of fact, he's going to hold Truitt up here a little bit. So if Truitt had a good lap going, it is no longer good. We'll see. It looks like the 43 is going to respectively move over out of the way, so he'll have to take another run at this lap here. That is spotters in action right there to say, hey, here comes Truitt. I mean, this is not what you – I mean – right here, Rimmerreed wants to get a good lap too, but he's hurting himself as much as potentially hurting the number 17 of Colin Truitt. I think Truitt was okay there. He did have to enter turn number 1 a little bit lower. But for the 43 of Rimmerreed, maybe he wants to follow him here and try to learn what he's doing to see if he can get closer. But you typically would want a little more space there to get a good lap in.
And look at this, a 122.2 from Kirchmeier. Truitt with a 122.212.
Yeah, well, and I got to tell you, Truitt was going to go quicker than that. No question, got held up in the last turn.
But, yeah, that was one thing. They really got going quick. These guys are setting the pace right now. That's so far the fastest 2 drivers we've seen out of the classes so far today that we've been out on track with.
And you could really see the setup right there for Truitt into the left-hander was a good bit better. Down to the bottom goes the 43 of Rimmerreed. Kind of missed that turn right here. And this is where this complex is everything. And that tight right-left-hander, there's a lot of time to be lost or found in there, and they were really pretty close together throughout that entire lap until they got there to that little complex, and then it was Truitt that drove away. So Truitt now down to the 121s, 121.9, and puts a couple of tenths on him right now, but still very, very close, separated by just 3 tenths.
brought right up the point, right into that section, how important it is there for times, how he got held up. Once they get by him, that really showed the new times coming in. And that was where it was made. I really think those section and the whoops, those could be the telling signs because it's a setup going into those turns.
So Colin True at P1, Cross Kirchmeyer now jumps up to P2 at a 22.20. Nice job by him. Tyler Rimmery at a 123.4. Curtis Kirchmeyer in the fourth position. Sean Hess jumps up into the top 5 out of Munster, Texas. Hess Motorsports Honda Max is helping him out. One of the few Hondas in the field.
And it's great to see the Honda talent out there to see it be competitive. I've seen them in the desert. I've seen them win championships up there. I have yet to really see them make their mark in short courses.
Yeah, very well-built car, no question about that. You always ask yourself, what's it look like in terms of weight, and how are they getting the horsepower out of it? What's the power band like? There's a number of things that you have to consider there as you're picking a brand.
And it's a little bit different. They don't run belts. They actually have more of a traditional style transmission. So I think, with belts.
Much like the Yamaha.
Much like the Yamaha, too. And that's one of the things that you see with Polarises and Can-Ams. They run the belts, too. There's always little failure points there. And Yamahas, they're pretty much bulletproof for it's been for over the years we have seen them. But the Polarises have been doing so well, dominated the turbo classes. Naturally aspirated has been the Yamaha pretty much.
And following Alana Baker, that is the number 12. That is the sister of Kanan Baker. So one of the ladies inside of the field here doing a nice job. And we're going to go back here. We're hearing that there were issues for Colin Truitt. You can see up out of the groove. That was actually the number 47. Oh, they say, I'm sorry, that was number 17.
Yeah,
so,
Truitt.
Yeah. Wonder what happened there. Still has the quickest lap of the session at 121.9. He'll be able to hang on to that and go back and have to chase what happened there.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we may have given you a little extra cheers on that, talking about the belts and the system on those Polarises, too.
So the older sister of the 2021 champ, Aliana, as we were talking about her before, out of Claremont, Oklahoma, 16 years old. Great to have the ladies inside of the field. As you take a look at the number 10 car there as well of Colin Kearns. Colin Kearns, my apologies. 126.7. The lap time there for Colin and the number 10 car. Another one of the Yamahas inside of the field. So as you can see there, the track has been cleared. That'll wrap up the first group here in our Pro NA category. That will bring out our points leader here in the next group. Robert Van Beekum, also inside of this group, a seasoned veteran inside of this category. Actually runs in both Pro Turbo and Pro NA. A couple of the track workers there from Lucas Oil Speedway. The silent heroes, the ones that you never really hear about. You don't know their names, but they're standing there ready to dive in if something goes wrong.
And things can go back quickly, and those are the guys you want to see come into your car, and they are on it. That's what's so great about them. Having the correct people on the track just makes you feel a little bit safer racing.
Well, approaching near 240 entries here this weekend. A lot of people on the property. You can take a look there over the back of the grandstands at all the transporters that are here. And then there's also a great look at the purpose-built lake for drag boat racing. Boats that have been in excess of 250 miles an hour over there.
It is an insane lake, and I hear it's stocked with bass.
Yeah, it would not surprise me.
A lot of great things on the property here, plenty of trails. We've got there are a couple of fishing holes out down the way, but I hear the bass are where the lakes are. And I told her if you go swimming in there, watch out for the snapping turtles.
Oh, boy, not good. So as we saw when we came on with Expert Turbo how wet the track was in that first group. Well, as you can see now, it is drying out very quickly, and now you kind of get an understanding of why they put that water down to try and hang on here as they come out here onto the track. But the track really coming in nicely here. Really curious to see because We know for sure that Tyler Rimmerreed is very, very fast. We know that Truitt is very, very fast. So I'm curious to see if this second group here is any quicker. If the track is going to stabilize here, Owen Van Eperen will certainly put it to the test.
And definitely want to keep an eye on one of my young motocross kids, and we're stand-up jet skis. He's worked in the works race. Chase Carr, doing a lot of trip out from California, from the Canyon Lake area, making his way here to Lucas Oil Speedway. It's great to have some young up drivers in that pro category right now. Seeing young blood coming in like Owen and Chase and all these guys.
Great overhead shot here. 1.2 miles the length of the track. 9 turns here. 7 of them are left-handers, 2 right-handers. The tabletop in the back, approximately 120 feet. Actually, going back a number of years ago, 2018-19, well, we didn't race there in 19 because a tornado tore this place up. Those big steel pillars holding up that roof right there looked like spaghetti.
Yeah, that
after
totally
the tornado went
ripped out.
through. It was crazy. But 2018, we raced in here. This is the number 95, clearly with issues there. Looks like some damage there to the left front as well for Eddie Ensign out of Louisiana. One of the George White entries here. Started in 2021, had 3 wins and 10 podiums, but unfortunately not having the best qualifying session here.
Yeah, definitely got a camber problem there with that front Hoosier there. And that's not something you want to see out of these guys. Probably could have hooked something, could have, K-rail. Yeah, that's not going
Yeah, it
anywhere.
looks like the left front control arm is actually down there on the ground, so maybe a spindle failure, a control arm. Who knows what happened if he clipped something, hit something. As you can see, complete failure right there. So he is done. We'll have to get somebody over there to help him out as cars continue to go by here at speed.
Well, we're starting to click some times down. It looks like Owen Van Eperen right now, the 1:23 time there with Robert Van Beeken, which we talked about. He's always been fast, been around. He is not new to this class for sure. Nick Burnham.
Van Beeken gets a good run, man. He'll make a run at it, no question about it. But that is a great example of a Yamaha versus a Polaris right there. So we'll see how that shakes out. Trying to remember what we saw Truitt run. I think he put a 121 up on the board.
I believe I wrote it down here, and if I can get back to my notes here. Pro Turbo, I believe it was a 121.
Good look here at the number 5 car of Owen Van Eperen. Owen Van Eperen, 2022, was 3rd in Pro Stock with the Champ Series. 1 win and 6 podiums along the way. 5th in Pro Turbo. The 2021 Champ Series 2nd to his dad in Pro Turbo. So a great year in 2021 for he and his father Rodney, finishing 1-2 in that category. Yamaha supported effort, great looking car. And by the way, Rodney said this is the first race that I've never been at that he's competed in. He had, I think they were going to Nashville, had a family obligation. Look at him send it through here. That's how you carry corner speed. But he said, it's driving me crazy.
Well, earlier he got on the bike. He got a little hairy. He was able to bring it right back down and get it. And it could have gone really bad there. But it looks like, he probably saw the track was a little wet, tested a little bit. Said, all right, I got traction now. He's going to change up his driving style just a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a big, long, sweeping turn there. It is not an easy turn to negotiate, and kind of looked like he went out and then came back in, kind of early apexed it and tried it, and then again got it rotated towards the end of the turn. So we'll see if he figures that thing out a little bit better, as once again carrying that high-speed left-hander going into the Project X whoops.
Yeah, look at the times. I think that little bicycle action cost him about a second there, from 123.37 to a 124.099. So little mistakes like that can cost you.
Yeah, I wanted to see if that right rear was going down. It might have just been loaded up in that left-hander. It looked like it might have been a little bit soft, but I think he just had a big load on it at the time. The car looks a little tight right there.
Yeah.
So he's just having a tough time getting through the center of the turn. I'm sure that a small adjustment will get him there. Now, we say that, and he just went at 121.1. So, I mean, don't think for a second that he's not very fast. What it means is there's probably some left inside of it.
Now, let's talk a little bit about tire pressure setup on this. Well, I know you've had a lot of experience in the Yamahas. What are we looking at tire pressure-wise with these guys? Do they run a little lower when it gets a little wet? Do they want a little bit more tire pressure when it gets dry? I mean, what are we thinking right now?
Yeah.
From your experience. You guys you played some serious times here with Robert in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's just these conditions are coming in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is perfect for these guys. So if they set up in their race conditions, I think, they're spot on here. And watching what was going on from the expert class to now, anticipating what the track is going to do, these guys at this level are going to put in a pretty solid setup, tire pressure-wise, for sure, and hang on here.
And you can really see him sliding around those turns. You can see all four wheels were just spinning in that turn. He kept it totally sideways, but kept his forward momentum. It was the setup going through that, the 5, 6, 7 through there.
So typically the way we've seen this happen, to be fair to the groups, is they'll qualify one group and they'll line up on the inside row. They'll qualify the other group and they'll line up on the outside row. So first, second, third, fourth is a fair lineup in that group. Really about the best way you can do it to make sure everybody gets clean track.
To kind of equalize it out.
Absolutely.
He got up in the marbles a little bit in the fluff.
Yeah, trying to find all the speed you can find. And now this track, you talked about it before, Blue Groove, and this is a good example of what you were talking about. Matter of fact, he just moved up a lane and a half, and you can lose a lot of time up there going around the outside. It's a much longer distance around that Talladega turn. It's a big, long, sweeping turn. Now, typically in years gone by, going back to 2018, again, you watch some of the guys that would just stay down on the bottom, even though it was slick, didn't have quite the grip. It was such a shorter distance that they would yield a better time, not to mention you don't want to open up the bottom and get a chance of getting past. Now, here it's all about qualifying. You don't worry about getting past. So if he feels like it's faster, well, then you go up there and you chase it. But he just went we'll see what he does when he gets around through here. Last lap, a 121.39. His quick lap, a 121.17.
Now, some of the strategies come into play. Your spotters already told you got the fastest time out there. Maybe you take another line option to see if you can better it up there. But it's also a good way to look up there if you can get that line if you have to pass somebody. If there's going to be a move, can you do that outside and still keep your momentum and speed up, too? So strategy comes to a little bit of play.
Yeah, and there's a great example. So he just lost some time, 122.17, so he's about a second off his quick lap time. I would say a bunch of that's probably in that Talladega turn as it's starting to slick off. For the drivers, it just feels like it takes forever to get through there when those things slick off. But it's still a much shorter distance than running way up high like he did. Unless maybe he can just go up a half a lane, or one lane. He ended up near 2 or 3 lanes at the exit of that turn. And you were talking about Chase Carr. How about Chase Carr in the 913? Up into the number P2 position, 122.6. Beautiful job out of him.
Yeah, really saying you can see Kyler Holcomb also into that third position. Robert Beacom still in the hunt, sitting around fourth right now. He's got a 123.697. Carr, a 123.081, so 0.6 of a second separating them.
And the number 99 car of Kyler Holcomb, currently sitting P3 at a 123 flat. 2022 was 7th in the points with 5 podiums. 2021 5th in MAO points, and 2019 was 1st in the Texplex Showdown Series. 2018 1st in Texas Off-Road Nats in the amateur category. Get some help from KBR Power Sports. So pretty cool to have a young gun out here cutting his craft. 24 years old, out of Texas.
Now, one thing you do see a lot of these cars versus let's say a stock one, is the radiator relocation. And you saw, looked like that one had a CBR back there. It's got the fan on it. It's up in the back. Versus when they come stock, they're up in the front. Now, that's one thing they do for racing because you're going to have some contact. If you get hit from the rear, it's up out of the way, too. So just seeing if people see what they see from behind right now.
Yeah, and I would say that it's not so much contact that they're worried about in the front. What happens is they get packed with mud.
Yeah.
They get packed with mud, and then obviously they're not efficient any longer. In fact, you would almost take a look at the number 913, clearly having some issues here as Chase Carr is currently sitting P2 with that RS1. A good lap time of a 122.6, but some mechanical issues here. But back to your subject of the radiator being in the front. For balance of the car, you really want to keep that weight up in the front. but you've got to have the car running at the end of the race,
Yes.
right? So you've got to protect that radiator. You've got to keep the mud off of it. So they put it in the back. Not only is it in the back, but it's up high, and it's a fairly heavy piece of the car once it's full of water. So you'd love to have that weight down there on the nose, but it's just not going to happen. If you pack it up with mud, your day will be done early.
Yeah, you can definitely see the position of it, and you want to get it as far up. You can see it's almost to the back of the driver there, too. So I'm sure that's for weight distribution with the motor being there. You got a lot of weight in the back of these cars.
Yeah, and it's kind of a scary thing, too. They actually try to create some separation from the driver and that radiator. For some reason, you go for a ride, you end up inverted. The last thing you want is some hot water dripping onto the drivers. So it's a complex little car, and there's a lot of thought process that goes into these cars to make sure the drivers are safe, trying to get as much performance out of them, and then, of course, keep the car alive so that it will survive a full race.
Yeah, definitely. And cooling is so important, keeping these motors. I mean, these things run at some high RPMs, too. It's incredible to see how these motors survive the pressures that they put them on, putting all these loads on the transmissions of the motors, going through these turns, keeping the tires spinning around.
And our drone shot taking us for a ride there. Hang on, man. You fall out of your desk chair if you're not careful. If you're in the couch, you're a little safer. One of our camera positions up there on the left. Another car looks like having some issues here is pulled off the track.
Owen Van Appen still with a quick time now. Look at this, a 120.7. Did this that last lap around. Chase Carr still out there, and the 122.6 looks like he's back up and running again. Able to solve their problem. And Kyler Holcomb sitting in P3, followed by Van Beekum. And looks like Booty?
That is Jeb Bottle.
Bottle, sorry.
Jeb Bottle out here as well. Currently sitting inside of the top 5. So great run for Jeb. Jake Kosmetzky a little bit lower as I learn how to speak again. Johnny Hinches a little bit lower again, down in the number 12 position, and Johnny also competing in the Pro Light category. Matter of fact, a former Pro Light champ.
Yes. Been a while for that, too. It's great to see him back, though.
Yeah, it is great to have him out here, of course, with the Pro Lights. As we talked about before, we saw them qualifying just a moment ago, and they'll be out here to run their first race of the series. Lots of money up for grabs inside of that division here this year. 4 different events, and I believe it's $100,000 sitting on top of the table.
And I believe for first place could be up to $7,000, and I think if you take the whole series, it's another bonus of $25,000.
Pretty impressive. I mean, It's great to see some money come into the sport, and they'll come out to fight for it.
Yeah, $58,000 you're capable if you win every race and win the championship.
And we follow the number 3 car across. That is Johnny Hinches inside of the Polaris.
Now, Johnny Hinches was supposed to be in the first qualifying session and did not make the show, so it looks like they added him in here. And it looks like we have another did not show there, Eddie Ensign, not making the call. If he does get his car, he'll get a into the line basically start on that one.
So that will wrap up this group as well for the Pro NA. We have a lot coming your way, including qualifying and racing. Stay with us. We'll be right back to Lucas Oil Speedway.
No matter what, it's never an easy event, and it never will be, and that's what makes King of the Hammers King of the Hammers. Tire choice is everything. I mean, to have a tire that's reliable and consistent and drives well out in the desert, but yet when we get to these crazy rock sections, still has grip and performs, and we can hit these sharp, jagged edge rocks and not have a problem, is what we need. And the Rockzilla is definitely our second to none when it comes to the UTV tires. It just speaks traction. It's got big lugs hanging off the side. It's got big lugs down the side of the sidewall of the tire. If you're going to look for something that makes traction and is going to grip and rocks and dirt and everything, you look at a Roxzilla and go, man, that thing looks like it's going to do the job right there.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is round 2 of the Mid-America Outdoors Side-by-Side Championship Series. We're also featuring round 1 of the Mid-America Outdoors Truck Championship Series, featuring the Pro Lights. What's on track right now is the Pro Turbo category. And I promise you, you'd be hard-pressed to find a side-by-side class anywhere at any time that's any more stacked than this one right here. Kyle Cheney inside of this one, Hunter Miller, Cody Miller, Zach Beaver's not able to make it here this week, and Corey Willis, Kanan Baker, Cody Martin, Tim Farr. I mean, the list just keeps going on and on. We talked about Tyler Rimmerreed being second in the Pro NA points. He's inside of this category. Robert Van Beekum, again, inside of this category. We don't want to forget Scott Champion, the reigning champion of this category, right?
Former Supercross racer.
Yeah, absolutely. Very talented. And then we don't want to leave out the 14-year-old Cash LaCroix, is also in here with the big dogs. So it's pretty cool. I mean, Kyle Cheney, 36 years old, as accomplished as they come. Tim Farr, as I talked about before, hundreds of wins, pro quads back in the day. Extremely good. And a win here, by the way, going back a number of years. And speaking of a win here, Kyle Cheney also with a win here. So a couple of drivers inside of this category that have some experience out here on this track.
And the UTVs, I mean, you get this thing wired, you got it. These are fast vehicles. These are the pro class. I'm expecting to see probably sub 120s now.
Yeah, I mean,
because the track's great, Ken.
Yeah, these cars will absolutely fly. We will see these things drop. I mean, right off the bat, 120.5. We're going into the teens here. No question about that as we follow the number 90 around. That is Hunter Miller out of Greenville, Texas. Hard to tell some of these Can-Am cars apart. If we get an overhead shot, there's a small difference with the Miller cars. Blue and turquoise plaid for the number 90 car of Hunter Miller. And, of course, his brother Cody Miller has yellow plaid roofs. So if you get an overhead shot, that's kind of how you tell the difference. But going back to Hunter Miller, how about a 2023 Red Bull Ranch Scramble Reserve champion and second at King of the Hammers UTV Pro Stock? And, of course, we were talking a little bit earlier about Kyle Cheney. 3 consecutive wins at King of the Hammers. Look at them back that thing in. That's how you get it done. And Cody went to the top. Now Cash LaCroix, the 14-year-old, goes to the top of the class, 120.066, ahead of Hunter Miller and Tyler Rimmerreed, who's inside of the top 3. Wall off track right there, staring at the concrete wall.
Definitely got up and close and personal with the checkers on that one for sure. And you can see the drone flew right underneath him, right next to him. But I thought a bird was chasing it for a second.
Excellent stuff there. Again, that car just looked really tight, really trying to get that thing to rotate around. Nice, smooth drift right up there, close to the cushion, gets some bite, slings that thing. See right there all that wheel he had to put into it to get it to rotate? He does not want to do that. He wants to try and back that thing in and carry a little more speed if at all possible. Look how straight the front tires are. A little wheel, little counter, nice and straight, and digging hard out of the back to head up over the tabletop. That's what you want. That is fast.
And that's one of the things you don't see him sawing the wheels. We talk about going back and forth. He just kind of sits it and just puts on it. Now here's Cash LaCroix that we're watching, that young man that's sitting on top of P1 with that 120. Can he better it this next time by? It's going to be the question.
Yeah, as we talked about, so young. Finished up 12th and 16th. He did qualify inside of the mid-pack there, we should say, in round number 1. So the young gun out there playing with some of these big dogs, certainly the future of the class. Looks like he's followed up by the number 4, one of the best on the property, and Tim Farr out of Wesley Chapel, Florida, part of that Johnny K Power Sports team. 13-time Pro ATV champ, including 7 Pro MX National Championships. I mean, absolutely bad to the bone as the number 4. And hustling right around there is Kanan Baker in the number 21 as well. Talked about him being a champ. Another young gun, by the way, 15 years old, but a champ in the Pro NA category.
Yeah, and Hunter Miller just took that spot there. And look at Kanan Baker also moving up to P2. Cash LaCroix gets knocked down. Now, I talked about sub-120s in the 119.4 right now for Cash. As I say this, Cash LaCroix takes it right back, a 119.2.
How about, yeah, nearly in the 18s, right? I mean,
yes.
We're getting down there. They are getting after it here. As, again, we keep an eye on the number 27. That is Cash LaCroix out of Guntersville, Alabama. Behind the wheel of that Polaris. Absolutely getting around here better than anybody. Had to deal with a little bit of lap traffic, but I think both of those cars moved up out of the way. I'm not sure it hampered him at all. But the top three cars in the 19s.
Yeah, definitely very quick right now, and expect to see if a couple other ones are going to get in there also. Now, one of my favorite moments, we had Cody Miller on our show. We're at King of the Hammers. After his brother Hunter, sitting second, had an issue, had to push the car across the line to take his win. But they literally did it on manpower going across. Talk about teamwork with these guys. It's incredible what they'll do to take a win.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool because there were some other competitors that jumped out and helped him push across that line. So it was a pretty cool moment. That's the way it is out here. It's all a big family. I mean, much like family, we argue and fight and we race hard, you know. But at the end of the day, we want the competition. We want the other people out here. And another car, I don't know if that was a mechanical or just a respectful move to get up out of the way of the 27 for Cash LaCroix. Can't stress to you enough. Up against the wall, so that one's done, whoever that is. But Cash LaCroix, good look at him. That is Kanan Baker, by the way, that was up there. It's the number 38, actually, of Zach Beavers. I didn't think Beavers was here, but he is here, clearly. As we take a look at him right there, and Zach Beavers having a good run at round number one, was in fourth, and there's a look at the 27, I believe. That is Cash LaCroix, who is off the track. And it's not uncommon for these things to get hot. They hurt the belt. Kanan actually broke a belt a little bit earlier today as the number 48 of Cody Taylor out of Shreveport, Louisiana as well. You can see the smoke out of the back of that one. Those things get hot. It's a CVT style clutch. So
it's almost like a centrifugal.
Yeah, no question. Yeah. Google it and see how they work. But there's so much stress, so much heat on that clutch.
And you can see Cody's actually over there going, hey, dude, you're smoking. Let me look. Hey, I got a part for this. And that's what they do. You can walk through these pits. They want to see their competitors race, so they will come over and help. And that's what's so great about, off-road. Whether it's desert, short course, it's a tight-knit community. And that's one thing everybody wants to see everybody get on the track. They want to have as many competitors as they can. They want to have some fair good competition.
So 119.2 as we end up this group right here. And the second group of Pro Turbo will come out here. We heard that Kanan Baker also had an issue, and I know Kanan broke a belt earlier today. I don't know if it was in the Pro NA class or the Pro Turbo class. But this track is very fast. These long sweeping turns, man, they stay in the throttle. When they can back them in, they just stand in the throttle. And the CVT style clutch allows them to stay right in the power band. It is tugging as hard as that engine can tug all the time. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. The downside of it is you can have belt failure. That's where the Yamahas come in. They don't have that CVT style clutch. They have a conventional style transmission, as you were talking about before, so they don't have those heat failures. Very, very reliable, but but then you're not always in the right gear.
That's right.
So the CVT's in the right gear all the time.
You don't have to think about it. It's clutch. Like riding an automatic transmission. Exactly right. That's one thing. And I've seen them when those things come across those baskets, they literally just shatter. I mean, you have to get a whole new clutch cover shatter system with the clutches come in, and they make a little bit spaced out one, so you get a little bit more cooling now too. And that's what we're trying to keep that cool. And then I forced a lot more air into the belts to try and keep those cool. But they come out with a lot of Kevlar belts than a lot of aftermarket companies.
There's a lot of brilliant minds that are trying to fix that problem and have been for a couple of years. Certainly making advancements here as they tow the 38 car of Zach Beavers off. Hate that he had those issues. That thing makes a ton of steam, by the way. Trophy Tractor Equipment Sales helping them out. Rental, Cam 2, Beavers Contracting, Beavers Heavy Equipment as well. So tough break there for the number 38. The 48 as well. The 27. I mean, some carnage here in this first group. So we're going to go to a break here as they clean some of the cars out of the way and prepare group number 2 for the Pro Turbo category. Stay with us.
Tuning, there's only one name we trust, Double E Racing. Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
And once again, welcome back to the MAO Racing Series. This is round 2 of the MAO Mid-America Outdoors, is what that stands for, Side-by-Side Championship Series. And the side-by-sides out here, we're at Lucas Oil Speedway, Wheatland, Missouri, a spectacular complex. Many would argue the best track here, short course track in the country. Many would say Crandon, many might say ERX. I mean, there's some great short course tracks out here in the U.S. Crandon, of course, is the Mac Daddy out there. That's our Daytona 500.
The big house.
This place, the big house. I mean, but it's just a completely different vibe than what you get when you come here. The turns are different here. The jumps are different here. You go to Crandon, it's big, huge, muscle, speed, right? It's just a different vibe going up there to the big house. But this place is very special right here, no question about it, and all the drivers love it.
And one of the unique things, like at Crandon, they have the Land Rush. I know they're going to do some of that with some of the kids' races here. I'd love to see Land Rushes implemented here, too. I think that would be incredible. This track would really do well with it.
Yeah, the Land Rush is like no other. I mean, watching everybody come through turn number. It's the most exciting turn in all of motorsports. Turn 1 at Crandon, no question about that.
Close to 100 miles an hour.
Big time jumps right here. As you take a look, that is Kyle Greaves, the KGP Customs sponsored machine there. We'll see them out here. They're going to run their first race here, and had some issues a little bit earlier today. They're hoping they have them fixed. I think you were over there as well, Dave. Rear main seal they thought might have been leaking, but came out here, qualified well. Of course, the reigning champ from Champ Off-Road. That is the cousin of C.J. Greaves as well. But Kyle Greaves, a talented young man, much like his father as well. Cut, grind, weld guy. I mean, they build chassis.
Yeah, Kurt is very talented. So all I saw is this guy underneath there. He's pulling off everything, and I see this, "Hi, Dave," popped out and went right back to work again. Didn't even miss a beat. Kurt knew exactly what he was going after. Now, going back to that, they go, "We didn't see any oil coming from any other spots." So hopefully that main seal is taken care of. I know they're on with the parts store, so, they're taking a look at it. We'll see. We'll be back, racing here very shortly, or qualifying, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. And once again, doing a little bit of track maintenance here. So we'll get things sorted out while they're doing that. It looks like the second group is about to roll out here. And we will take a quick break here, and we will be right back to show you group number 2 of Pro Turbo. Once again, we welcome you back to Lucas Oil Speedway here, round 2 of the MAO Side-by-Side Championship Series. We have Group 2 of the Pro Turbos out here on the track. That is a look at the number 91, Kyle Cheney. He's a points leader coming in here, won both motos in round number 1. We'll find out what he can put up on the board. He's chasing 14-year-old Cash LaCroix, who put down a 119.2 in group number 1. Couple of the Can-Ams right there. Very fast cars. Of course, Kyle Cheney, absolutely second to none. Another one of those Tim Farr-style drivers. Kyle Cheney, by the way, 3 consecutive King of the Hammer wins. And the 124, unfortunately, having some issues here. That is Mitchell Huddleston out of Weatherford, Texas.
Yeah, Huddleston's out of the car, and he's walking. But looking up there, Cody Miller said a 119.151. That so far is the fastest time we've seen. Now, the incredible thing, he did it on the first lap.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Yeah,
getting right after it. Cody Miller, Kyle Cheney, Corey Willis. Corey Willis, who's really developed into a very fast race car driver here in the past couple of years. Watching the number 91, once again, of Kyle Cheney. Started to talk about his career a little bit. 6 cross-country side-by-side series championships, 3 short course side-by-side series championships, Heydays championships. I mean, the list just goes on and on. A good look right there at running the bottom of the Talladega turn versus a couple of lanes up, which is what I talked about before, and you could see how Cheney just drove away from him.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you're right about. The longer way around is not the fastest way around always.
But again, for the driver, they just feel like it takes forever down there at the bottom. Yeah. They can't go to the throttle. It's on the dry slick. It's crazy how it feels.
Yeah, they're trying to get that traction, trying to feel. You think you're not going anywhere. You don't want to keep pushing the throttle down, spinning your wheels. As long as you're smooth through there, and I think you're right. These guys watching Cheney really hugging that low end there, too.
So that is Cody Miller, the number 22. That is the brother of Hunter, of course. We talked about him having the yellow plaid roof. Again, out of Greenville, Texas, 2023 Red Bull Ranch Scramble champion and third at King of the Hammers UTV Pro Stock. 2022 Texas Outlaw Series Reserve champ. And right on the back bumper of Cheney. And we watched the Miller brothers and Cheney just go at it all the time.
Yeah, they're no stranger to competition with these 3 drivers for sure there. And, of course, Cheney's still back there just a little bit. Now I'm also looking at Corey Willis. He's in the 119s now, 119.6, just about that the last time before. Scott Champion is going to round out our top 5. He's now the reigning champion in this category. So he's going to have a target going on his back. And, of course, if he doesn't get that top qualifying position, it's going to be a rough one considering these 2 groups where they're going to set him up.
Yeah, and talking about Scott Champion, unfortunately had a tough round number 1, had a wheel issue and did not make the main. The 2022 champ, as you talked about, was second in the points in 2021. Again, watching the 2 Can-Ams go at it, and up on the bike goes Cheney for just a moment. As they currently sit, it is Cody Miller up top, followed by the 15 car of Cody Martin out of Collierville, Tennessee. 2021 MAO Pro Turbo Champ, actually was tied with Scott Champion that year, but won on the tiebreaker based on number of wins. So that's how close that championship was.
And we can see Cody Martin coming down. We're going to keep an eye on him as he goes by.
119.15 as Cody Martin lays one down. Currently at the top of the charts, 119.2 for Cash LaCroix. So both groups here are very close. But again, what a spectacular lap out of the 14-year-old to be hanging with people like Cody Miller, Cody Martin, Kyle Cheney. Man, that is unbelievably fast for the 14-year-old.
And look at the top 4 by half a second separates these guys less than. They're all really tight there. And going back to Cash LaCroix, 119.20. And then we're going to go 119.3. So he's still sitting second fastest in the qualifying group, but Cody Miller still has it. But it's close with Martin there. Can Martin bump him down? But Cheney is only 1/10 of a second right now off of Martin's time.
Beautiful job there out of the 15 car of Cody Martin. You can see him rotate that car nice and smoothly through the left-hander. Back here through the right-hander. That's the motion you're looking for. That's what we were talking about, that fluid motion of the left, the right, and back into the left to head into that final turn as we follow the 15 car around here. And
you don't wonder now with the transmissions we talked about that, with the Yamahas and all that, flicking, going through. He's probably got the paddle shifters, able to upshift, downshift, going through there to get that tire to rotate.
So Corey Willis currently sitting P4. And sponsors a number of drivers out here as well, 119.6. And Corey, extremely talented, second in the points in 2022. Owner of PPEI, who is magical with diesel engines, very, very talented, has quite a successful business, has seen the highs and lows of that industry, by the way. But another guy, I was talking about him before, really developed. He was running around kind of in the top 5 a couple of years ago. Didn't quite have the speed. Just kept digging and working and digging and working. And finally finds himself up running with big dogs, 33 years old, and now tailing right there on the Cheneys and the Millers and the Martins. So he has really found his groove here in the past couple of years, all through extreme hard work.
And that's one of the things that really pays off. The more seat time you get, the better you get. And, working on your own car, I know he does a lot of the stuff and helps set up on there. And that helps you it's easy to translate from what you're feeling in the car to fixing it yourself. Try to basically translate it to a crew chief, sometimes it's a little hard. This guy has a lot of experience.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Very talented as you watch him launch that thing up over the top of the MRT start-finish line. And by the way, up there to the top left is the Optima Batteries leaderboard, so keep an eye up there, courtesy of Optima Batteries for our MAO Racing Pro Turbo leaderboard. And I know the C. Miller can be confusing there, and Cody Miller and Cody Martin, the two. Kyle Chaney inside of the top three still.
Corey Willis sitting in that fourth position with Scotty Lawrence moving up into fifth. Scott Champion sixth. Then you got Bottle back there. Again, we saw him earlier in a pro naturally aspirated, also running the turbo. It's going to be a rough one back-to-back with these guys. Got to be, but it also probably, the track's fresh in your mind, too. I got to think that could be an advantage to a
Seat time's always good, no question about that. How about Johnny Holcher running yet another class? So 3 classes out here for Johnny Holcher, and the number 44 currently P8. And a little bit deeper down the pack, just outside of the top 10, Robert Van Beekum running in the Pro NA category. His son Ryder also out here competing in the Youth 1K. So we wish him the best of luck. Pro Light qualifying coming up here next, I believe, so make sure you stay with us. You can see the clock counting down up there. It's just a little more than 5 minutes. And actually, looks like they're waving them off as they count them down now. So the end of that session. Stay with us. We'll be right back here in just a couple of moments as we talked about Pro Light qualifying coming up next. And we are back here at beautiful Lucas Oil Speedway.
First time ever. We're here in Wheatland, Missouri, round 2 of the Mid-America Outdoors Side-by-Side Championship Series, and we've got pro lights involved. You're going to ask us, what is a pro light? Well, Johnny Holcher here, who happens to have a Pro 2 and a pro light, is going to walk us through this whole process and exactly what is a pro light. John, let's start at the beginning here.
All right, so looking at the front of the truck, you got your oil cooler, your shock reservoirs,
and air cleaner for the engine. Handing over, you got your suspension, your coilovers, your shocks, and then you got your tires. So those are tires you can buy from any store, put on your truck, nothing special about them. And we groove them to how the track's going to be. So if it's
driving style and the track conditions.
Muddy track. So right now, they're brand new tires. Going to look at the track to see how we're going to groove them for this weekend.
And as we work our way back now into the engine compartment, I noticed that the motor itself is not where it normally would be on your street truck.
No, it's not. We have it back a little bit and over to help balance the car out. So if it was all the way in the front, you'd go off jump and nosedive. So we got to even it out a little bit so they fly through the air nice and perfectly.
And as we work our way back, we're into the race compartment now. What exactly is your office? What's inside your office here?
So I got the steering wheel, obviously, and then the little screen is all my temps. Everything I need to know what's going on with the truck. And then at the bottom of the screen, I can tell where my brake bias is at. So it tells me front and rear, and when I click it or hit the brakes, it tells me how much front and rear percentage I got. And then
you talk about brakes, and you got the shifter and that little blue knob over. What's all that?
That little blue knob's pretty magic. That is the cutting brake. So when you pull that locks off both back tires to help you rotate in the corner. And then the black knob, that's your shifter. So just like your everyday car, you got park, reverse, neutral, 1, 2, 3.
But there's no clutch. It's just an automatic. You're just loading gear.
Slap gears with it.
And as we work our way further back, I noticed that there's 3 shocks instead of just the 2. I'm sorry, 2 shocks.
2 shocks. So you got your coilovers and then your regular shock. And then down at the bottom more, you have your sway bar.
And I noticed more coolers.
More coolers. So the one in the middle is the transmission cooler. That cools the transmission, make sure that thing's all running nice and cold. And then more up towards the back, we have our radiator. So that's just the water for the engine, and they flow into each other there. And 2 big giant brushless fans to keep air flowing through that.
And then if you keep going further back at the fuel cell.
And the master shut-off. So if anything happens out on the racetrack, the safety crew can get to me, shut the truck off, and nothing else can happen.
Well, that is a very quick synopsis of what we'll call it. How about Pro Light 101?
Pro Light 101.
Great stuff there. Thanks a lot to Scott Rain and Johnny Holcher as well, a former champion side of this category. Talking about the Pro Lights, they are out there on the track right now. We have 8 of them out here to compete. And, of course, this is part of round 1 of the MAO Truck Championship Series. A lot of money up for grabs here. This is round 1 of that particular series. And to go on a little bit more about the trucks, just to put it in a little more perspective, they weigh in at 3,200 pounds. That's without the driver. Now, I believe the Champ Series is 3,400 pounds. Very, very close to the 2 right there. And then also in terms of travel, they have 12 inches of travel in the front. They have 14 inches in the rear. Minimum ground clearance, 10 inches here as they go across the pad to tech. So a little bit of information there. For the most part, they are fuel-injected LS power plants. I believe C.J. Greaves is still using a carburetor engine. Former Johnny Holcher truck, by the way. Put that deal together fairly late. But Kyle Greaves with a fuel-injected machine and the reigning Champ Series champion. So we'll see how things shake out here. But the trucks produce upwards of about 500 horsepower, so they get around here.
Yeah, it's kind of a spec V8 motor on there. We talked about it, but, it's really interesting. They talked about the cutting brake that they have there. They talked about rotating there. So you got a lot going in there. You get in there to make sure you're in the right gear. It's kind of an auto, but you can select the gears that you go in there. Greaves have a little bit of issue. Oh, no, the flag comes out. Holcher's going to do it. Now, we talked a little bit about that oil seal. Was that the problem? Did it hold? Were they able to fix it? Now, they still get a chance. They could get it fixed if there's an issue. He is off track right now.
Well, clearly everybody is off pace. Yeah. So something has happened here.
Oh.
And there it is.
Oh, no. Yeah.
The TCR truck, the number 94 of Jake Cunningham, and I believe a new entry, new to the category, if I'm not mistaken. Did not get a chance to get over there to speak with them a little bit earlier today. let me tell you something. These trucks are no joke. I raced one for about half a season, had the pleasure of doing that. It's a lot of fun, but, man, these things get up on the bike easy. I went for a big ride inside of one of these things. They get up on the bike really, really easily. You've got to keep those rear tires rotating. You've got to drive them really aggressively to get them to work right, and to do that means you're dancing with danger all the time. Great news right there. Of course, the driver is out. All the safety mechanisms that are in place here have done their job. So a little bit of work, a little bit of money, be able to put that one back together. Honestly, looking at the cage and the structure of the truck, it doesn't look too bad. It might be a lot of cosmetics there and maybe some more damage to that driver's side. But the good news is the driver's okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few bent fender hangers there in the back, which is very common. We see those knocked off all the time. Shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully they can get it back. The guys can get work on it. I'm sure some of these teams will probably lend a hand and get that thing pounded back, get out the duct tape, get out the sledgehammer, and put it back on the racetrack.
And once again, the safety crew there immediately appreciate everything that they do, and there to help out the drivers and make sure that there are no issues anywhere along the way. And, of course, talking about these trucks again, they run a spec transmission. Matter of fact, spec gears inside of the Turbo 400 transmission. Now, the rear gear is open. They can play with that a little bit. DOT tires. So these are tires, as you heard in that piece, that you can buy off the showroom floor. They must be readily available or they're not legal. So it's a pretty cool class. I dare say entry-level class. There's a lot of drivers that have been in here for a long, long time.
And some new drivers, and I think this is one of the debuts of this truck here, so getting his little...
Well, it's a stepping stone class, no question about that. As you talk about the big trucks, the Pro 2s and the Pro 4s, and how many of those, the Jarrett Brooks that we've seen, the C.J. Greaves that we see, that have all worked their way up through the Pro Light division and the Pro 2 and Pro 4, it for sure is a great class to cut your teeth. Many would argue that it's more difficult to drive a Pro Light, as we take a look at Kyle Greaves here, than it is to drive a Pro 2 or a Pro 4. These things are much more violent inside, giving the wheel travel 12 inches and 14.
And less
take a look at the big trucks.
Yeah.
Man, those things land like pillows in a lot of cases in comparison to one of these trucks.
Yeah, not too forgiving, these things at all. And like you said, it's so important to keep that wheel spin up and keep these things rotating, because you stop rotation, you get all that side bite, they're going to get up on the bike and they're going to go up over, as you've experienced.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes.
So as you talked about before, Kurt Greaves is the father of Kyle Greaves, driving right here. Kyle, extremely talented. Talked about him being the reigning champion of the Champ Series. White flag out here. Looks like he's going to have one more. And I believe we're going to get a replay here, courtesy of AMSOIL, in just a moment to see what happened here. See if we can figure out what happened to Cunningham to see maybe when he went over. Oh, man.
Milhausen.
That is through the Project X off-road whoops right there, and that's how ugly it can get.
Yes. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit about that, and he said, well, we ended up spinning some gears on that. We had to change the rear end out, went to a different ratio. So they had to find that happy medium for getting out of these tight turns, but also finding the high speeds. They had it set up for more of a high-speed track in the past.
Oh, and Greaves up over, jumps that small cushion, tags the wall a little bit with the right rear. That is a high-speed left-hander. You go over the tabletop, open up the entry, carry as much as you can, and it washes you all the way out to the right-hand side. You can see how nice that truck worked through the rhythm section right there. Beautiful job. Hangs that thing out nice and smooth up over this jump into the tight right-hander. Let's watch him negotiate this little complex. Beautiful job through the right-hander, immediately right back to dance that thing back to the left-hander. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Not a whole lot of grip down in there anymore. It is blue groove, but it's the same for everybody. And then he'll just dance with that cushion, right rear in the cushion, left rear a little bit, and get some good drive off over this jump right here and across the MRT start-finish line. By the way, he is your number one qualifier as it stands right now to 123.8.
And one of the things that you really notice, he's keeping that left tire on the blue groove. So he's got in the section, letting that tire and those tires spin and get that rotation going as he starts to slide around. And that's the key right there, is where to place that front tire and where your rear tires are getting this good one. Let's take a look at it right
one more time. Yeah, AMSOIL's going to bring us this replay of him tagging the wall. Keep your eyes on this. So sets up that left-hander, opens the entry up as far as he can, but trying to stay in the cushion, that right rear in the cushion, gets a little aggressive, blows that just a little bit, about a half a car width, and gets out here and boom. You can see him tag that right rear. It lifted up the left rear. He hit it so hard. You'll have to take a look at that truck, see if they put anything underneath there at the bottom.
Yeah, I probably bent some of the hangers. That's one thing nice about those fiberglass fenders that are on there. You can see the hangers. It's a great shot overhead from our drone. Where it goes, we can see Baker right there. Again, as you can see, he's setting up a little bit and keep that front tire in there. A little bit of that three-wheeling, yep.
His first time in the truck was earlier today. I mean, literally no test time. Up and down the driveway just a little bit. I believe got a little bit of help out of Ryan Beat, who backed half that thing. They came back in, found some issues with the shocks, and looks like that's going to wrap things up there for the 21 of Kanan Baker, who's also competing in Pro NA, Pro Turbo. Kanan inside of the top 5 there. Currently P4, put a time of 126.5 on the board.
Now, we didn't talk about Maddox Bailey too much. You know, and that's one we've watched over the years. He's moved up through the program, some karts, Pro Light. The kid knows how to drive for sure.
Yeah, the madman, right? Yeah. Maddox Bailey, a couple of wins underneath his belt. 125.4, jumped up into that P2 position, just ahead of Johnny Holcher, as we talked about before, running in 3 different categories out here, and another former champ inside of the category. No lap times, unfortunately, for C.J. Greaves. We'll have to do a little bit of homework and see if we can figure out what happened to him. And, of course, Jacob Cunningham going for a ride. Hey, take a look at that one. That one's had some time on it. Some of the track workers out there in one of those track vehicles. We'll be right back.
comes to suspension tuning, there's only one name we trust, Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round two of the MAO Side-by-Side Championship Series and round one of the MAO Truck Championship Series. Of course, we just saw qualifying for the Pro Lights. We're going to bring up race number one here. Excited to get the first race of the weekend going. And Miss Pam Hall has joined me in the booth. Welcome.
Welcome. It's awesome. I've been listening to the show all day long. We have the Vet 40 Plus class coming up. I'm super excited about this one.
You're pit reporting, you're in the booth, you're running all around. They keep you busy over here. You do a great job.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing an amazing job. I love listening to it. The racing has been awesome already today. Seeing the Pro Lights just now on course was awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. So the Vet 40 Plus NA, once again, normally aspirated versus the turbo category. Terry Lackey leading in the points here. And then it's Mitch Truitt, who is second in the points, having a great round number one. We talked about Colin Truitt in the Pro NA category. That's his father. So like father, like son, they one up in each other.
Exactly. And speaking of Colin Truitt, Terry Lackey, his vehicle, his car, he had it out at the Outlaw Series, and Colin Truitt ran it for him. He ended up first in place
Yeah, for sure. So we apologize for the technical issues there. Unfortunately, we lost you there for a moment, Pam, and for whatever's going on there. So maybe the wire's here a little bit looser. I don't think we've touched anything yet. We get in trouble for touching stuff. We're supposed to talk and don't touch anything. We're not technical people.
Yes, don't touch anything, right?
You're back.
No, but Colin Truitt, though, if you didn't hear what I was saying, he was out with Terry Lackey's car at the Outlaw Series a couple weeks ago, and he just got first place in both classes, NA and the Turbo class.
So once again, we welcome you back inside the booth. It's a spectacular facility. You've had a chance to be here now. Your son also competes out here. What did he have to say about the racetrack?
Oh, he is loving the racetrack. He's raced Lucas Oil in the past at the regional series, and being out here at...
I think we lost you again, unfortunately. So we'll see if we can get the technical issues here figured out. And
I think you're back.
You're back. Maybe it was me. I'm not sure.
No, but it's pretty awesome. He was excited to come here. He always wanted to race out here at Wheatland, and here he is. And he ended up second today in his qualifying lap, and he's excited for race day tomorrow.
So as we get ready here for round number 1, let's talk about Visions that's going to happen here in about a month or so as well. We've been talking about how cool this racetrack is, but what they're doing back in Jay, Oklahoma, the home of Mid-America Outdoors, is second to none. A purpose-built track. Travis Pastrana heavily involved. It's in the midst of construction as we speak. It's an unbelievable effort that's going on out there.
It's going to be insane. Talking to the drivers out in the pits, they're all excited to see what the track will be like. It's going to be exciting out there Memorial Day weekend to be back at Mid-America and on the brand new track, because they have been working tirelessly out there to get it ready. And Visions alone is just going to be off the hook.
Yeah, this series is growing by leaps and bounds already. Visions, of course, we set a record last year of entries. We are approaching that record here at this event, so I can only imagine what Visions is going to be like this year. But the enhancements of everything that's going to happen out there, including Travis Pastrana, the RC racing that goes on, our racing, the Ultra 4 racing, it's a massive event. So if you have something on the bucket list, certainly put Mid-America Outdoors on that. Get to Jay, Oklahoma. It's a week-long event. It's a beautiful place. It's the better part of, they're working on 1,000 pads for motorhomes. So you can get on a pad and get your hookups done and get set up and enjoy the entire week there. A massive pool, restaurants, bars, anything you want there is going on during the week. It is a family fun place.
And it's not just a regular pool, it's a lazy river.
It is super, super cool. There's something there for everybody, no question about it. As we watch them line up here, the Vet 40 Plus category, and this is the normally aspirated cars. The turbo cars are a separate category.
And look at them all lined up. You can see some of them went back and probably cleaned their cars up after they were out this morning and doing some practice laps, but it was a little bit muddy out there, not because of rain, but they do keep this track watered. They keep it, they don't want to get behind the track. That's a key feature at a race course, staying on top of the track, making sure it's at prime conditions for our racers.
Saw the 75 car there out of Reedsville, Wisconsin. That is the Bulldozer. Bill Berger will lead everybody to the stripe. A little bit deeper there in the field on row number 2. Number 16 of Jason Everhart out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. People coming from the West Coast, San Diego, from North Carolina, from the center of the country. They're traveling all around, as you might imagine, to get out here. The 041 of Everett Bottle as well, saw them sitting there. So that inside row, waiting patiently to get out here, take their pace lap, and go racing.
And Everett Boodle he has 2 children that also race out here as well. And so out here, a family affair. They come from, I believe, the South Carolina area, if that's what you had said there.
Well, so I just had the town there for Everett, but I also noticed that Jeb competes as well.
Yes.
So pretty cool, and we see that a lot, the family efforts that are out here.
Yes,
we were talking about Johnny a little bit earlier. His 2 kids are also running out here, but this is very, very common to see husband, wife, kids, everybody racing. Again, taking a look at the number 95, Todd Rimmerreed out of Bennington, Nebraska, father of Tyler, who competes here in this category as well.
Looks like we're going to finish the parade lap with the AOE Pace Truck.
Yeah, get them out here onto the track.
practice this morning. That was awesome to watch as well. You know, as you said earlier, this is my first time out here at Wheatland, Missouri. This is an awesome track. All the drivers are loving it. They're loving the speed that they're getting as well. And that 120-foot tabletop on the backstretch, that's pretty amazing.
It's big, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's a lot of fun to watch. It never gets old.
Exactly.
I promise you that. Great stuff. So I'm curious to see if they're going to throw the green flag here on the first lap out. Pace truck is coming in. It looks like we're going racing here, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 2 of the Mid-America Outdoors Side-by-Side Championship Series. They stand on the throttle. Here we go. This is the Vet 40-plus NA category. Into turn number 1 they go.
Yes, and you see the 2 different lines right there. Taking the high line is not always an advantage, but it definitely was for, I believe that's the 978 of Rick Schroeder.
Yeah, Berger up there was fighting for that spot. I believe got passed by that RS1.
Those RS1s are so nimble because they're, center of gravity.
Yeah, for sure. They sit in the center, a little bit smaller car. They well balanced for sure.
And that right there is that tabletop jump on the back stretch.
Yeah, not quite clearing it yet, but they will build some steam as they go. Berger down there on the bottom fighting for second place. Look at them, 3 wide there. That is 3 wide up and over the Johnny K's over-under. Great battle going on there for second place.
And they are all still super close together. This is going to be one race to watch for sure. Don't take your eyes off of your favorite driver.
That is the 16 car of Jason Everhart battling there with Berger. 2 different manufacturers for sure as well. Yamaha versus the Polaris. Yamaha pulling gears, probably a center shift car. They do have an option for paddles, but most of them still have the shifter in the center. And that is a vicious battle there.
And that is Jason right there. Just took over this number 2 spot almost. But the 978 of Rick Schroeder is still in that number 1 position.
2022, Rick Schroeder, our leader, 3rd in the points here in this category. Former and very successful motocross racer. 2022 was first year in side-by-sides. Also runs an expert NA.
And look at that track. It's an amazing track right there. It's a big track, I believe a 1.2-mile-long track.
That is exactly right. And I'm still looking at this battle for second place. Has yet to be settled. Finally, it looks like the number 16 of Everhart is going to take over the position.
And that is Truett right there, running in that 4th position right there.
Yeah, the 19 of Mitch Truett, as we talked about before, again, out of North Carolina. Truett Insulation, Polaris, Hoosier, G-Force Suspension, all jumping on board to help that team out. And here comes Berger right back after him, right down to the bottom. Berger in that teal number 75 car.
A lot of talk in the pits this morning about tires. The track has changed throughout the day. It's a little bit of a drier track than they were this morning when they were out practicing. So the tire game is a big thing right now that everybody is still contemplating out in the pits.
Yeah, and that's where the experience comes in, right? And you have to kind of anticipate where that track is going to be when you get out here. It takes a lot of time to groove a tire, so what do? You have to anticipate what's going to happen here. Again, they go side by side down this front straightaway. Great racing here in the Vet 40-plus NA category. Again, one more time, take a look at your leaderboard up there. That is courtesy of AMSOIL. Oh, and all the way around, did the 19 of Mitch Truett get a little bit of help? We'll see if we can get a replay on that, courtesy of AMSOIL. The people in the truck doing a great job with us here so far today. We'll see if they have that one and can bring it back. But, man, it was close racing quarters right there, and all of a sudden the 19 went around.
It's been tight the whole entire time. Now you can see that the drivers are breaking apart just a little bit. Having a spin out like that will do that if they are actually letting up.
And so, once again, AMSOIL will give us a look here to see if we can figure out what happens to the 19 car. Looks like the 04 of Terry Lackey comes in there, gets into the right rear of the 19 car, Mitch Truett. I'm sorry, was that the 04? That was the 041 is.
I believe that was 04. They're buddies, too.
So we talked about Lackey coming in here and leading in the points, had a pair of third-place finishes in round number 1, which gave him the lowest amount of points in the overall to take over the 40 points and come in here as that points leader. So got in there a little bit hot.
And that's Jason Everhart right there with Schroeder behind him.
Down the front straightaway they go, and out across that MRT start-finish line. Nice little tabletop right here, and Schrader's showing him in second place now. Was our leader.
And they have Mitch Truitt up into that third position already. So back up towards the top of the pack. But we have 10 cars that took the green flag here in the Vet NA class this morning, or this afternoon. And what a great shot right there of that tabletop jump on the backside with the beautiful American flag. And look at that one. I couldn't quite catch that number, just flying over the tabletop.
Yeah, great stuff as they make their way through the Project X off-road whoop section.
And that is Jason still up there in that lead with Schroeder behind him.
And again, look at the number 16 of Jason Everhart. So beautiful job there. It was a pass for the lead at some point, and Jason was able to take advantage of that.
Now, Jason also builds cars as well, so I'm not sure if he built the one that he is in. I'm sure he probably did, but he builds race cars as well, and there's the white flag coming out for Jason Everhart right there.
Yeah, great stuff. One to go. So a couple of these motos are pretty short. Moto 1 and Moto 2 here, the way that they run these for the side-by-sides, they are just 5 laps in distance.
5 laps go by very quickly.
Very fast, especially out here on this 1.2, and we should talk about a J. Oklahoma at home. That track is 2 miles, or it was 2 miles.
What?
It's going to be completely different whenever we get back. So a good bit different here in this battle for third. And again, it's the lowest overall points between your 2 motos, if you will, your 2 races. So you want to finish, obviously, as far up front, but how you finish here will determine how you start in your second race for these drivers tomorrow. But a great battle going on here for third.
I believe that is definitely Bill Berger and Mitch Truitt right there battling it out. Going through that whoop section right there.
Good look at the 2 different kind of cars. That is the Yamaha YXZ out front, manually shifted, and the Polaris RS1 all over the back bumper. CVT style clutch, no shifting inside of that car. Go back up to the leader through that final turn, and it's going to be Jason Everhart, who has a great run here to take the checkered flag in the first race of the weekend.
What a way to start it off.
Yeah, that's a good way to start off a race weekend, no question. We'll see who hangs on here for that third position as they come across the stripe here. Looks like Terry Lackey's going to end up in the 4th position, and Bill Berger, that was a battle for 4th there. Terry Lackey and Bill Berger. Lackey will get that spot. Bill Berger inside of the top 5. So top 3, Everhart, Truitt, and Schroeder.
And then on to tomorrow for their main event. We shall see how that's going to pan out tomorrow. And I just said that Mitch Truitt and Lackey, they're all pitted together. They're buddies. That goes to show right there that your buddies in the pits, but on the track, you're racing. Whenever they got into it and both spun around.
So Jason Everhart, your winner here. Mitch Truitt, Rick Schroeder, Terry Lackey, Bill Berger, Randy Clifton, Austin Sides, Everett Boodle, Todd Rimmereed, and Jeff Johnson to round out your top 10 for race number 1 in the Vet 40 Plus NA class. So race number 1 for the weekend in the books. We have race number 2 coming up here in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll turn the women loose when we come back. And once again, we welcome you back to Lucas Oil Speedway. Race number 1, courtesy of the Bet 40-plus category, NA, I should say, is complete. Race number 2 about to begin here. It will feature the women's naturally aspirated category. As you can see there, the pace truck leading them out here, 6 vehicles strong. Currently coming in here as the points leader will be Josie Watkins, who, by the way, is an ambassador for the park as well, but 2 wins in round number 1, comes in here as your points leader behind the wheel of the number 237.
She has a great wrap on that, too. It's a like the leopard print kind of wrap. She's always on top of her game with keeping her car looking good. And you can see her right there. She is starting in the second row on the right-hand side.
Actually, I think that might be outside pole there in row number 1. The number 17 car of Brooklyn Singleton will start on the outside of row number 2. 15 years old. Great to see the young talent come out here, both male and female. More and more women racers every day. It is great to see.
And Brooklyn Singleton, she's been out here racing. They all are part of that 360 group, and they come out here with a huge hauler with so many cars out there. She has her siblings out here racing as well. They have a great team, great family. It's a family sport for them.
The 28 of Irie Bailey, also on the inside of row number 2, part of the Stronghold team. Her brother Maddox Bailey competing in the Pro Light division as we look for a green flag here. Once again, 5 laps in distance for the women's NA category.
And you have the number 14 of Camber Kirchmeyer right there.
Yeah, Camber leads them all to the stripe, and looks like the 237 was go. Yeah, it picks the throttle right back up. Great job for Josie Watkins. Really gets through turn number 1 well.
And already a battle. It almost looked like they were going to try to go three wide right off the start.
Out through that long Talladega turn. Run about a lane up. Beautiful job there for Josie. Just enough to keep that thing wound up, not go any further distance around than absolutely necessary. Carry some good speed, and up over the tabletop they go.
So we have Kathy Kirchmeyer, Josie Watkins, Brooke Singleton. Right
Looks
there.
like Irie Bailey there, currently in 4th. Leslie Yashimoto in 5th. And Leslie doing a good job there in round number 1 as well. A couple of third-place finishes. Comes in here 3rd in the points. Camber Kirchmeyer comes in here 2nd in the points. Camber, they're showing currently out front.
And you can see Josie Watkins in that turn right there. It's such a tight right-hand turn, and they have to really put on the brakes, and it kind of made her do like a little bit of a lift. But that's where the seat time and the driving skills really come in handy, is on those tight right-hand turns when they're coming out of a high-speed section.
Yeah, it's a tough little complex in there. That right-left to carry good speed. Speed to be found or speed to be lost in there for sure. As we take a look at these 2 battling hard.
And Josie has got quite a lead right now, probably about a 6-car lead, which is awesome. But these ladies are sticking together. It's awesome to see all these ladies out here racing with Mid-America Outdoors.
Brooklyn Singleton, the number 17 car there out of Coweta, Oklahoma, 15 years old. Also saw the 528 of Leslie Yashimoto as well out of Oklahoma. A little puff of smoke out of one of them. That might have been Leslie.
And I believe you are correct.
Seems to be okay now, just right when it landed, so maybe some tire smoke there, maybe it tagged something. Up and over that Johnny K's over-under jump. That's the top side of it. Of course, they go underneath that when they head into the final turn.
It's a really cool section right there, going through an over-under. We don't have one of those right now at Mid-America, but some stuff's going on at the track there. But look, there's that left-hand turn that we were talking about where they have to like really chuck up.
There might be like a double, triple over-under being developed there at Jay, Oklahoma. We'll see what we get when we get back over there. They're doing crazy stuff. Get Travis Pastrana involved, something crazy's going to happen.
Exactly. That was a great shot of the start-finish line right there. And Josie Watkins still out front with Kathy Kirchmeyer in that second position.
Irie Bailey doing a nice job. She's currently P3. has been racing for a couple of years. She's actually came out of mod carts as well. Racing family. That entire Stronghold family has been in the desert for many, many years, so very, very talented. We talked about Maddox, her brother, doing a great job in Pro Light. The Madman, very, very fast.
Yes, and out here with Ryan Beat, had a little conversation with him earlier. It's really awesome. I asked him if he was going to end up out here racing with us, and he said, well, we shall see.
Yeah, well, he's a racer, man. Anytime he's here, the last thing he wants to do is watch.
Well, and that's exactly one of the questions was, how are you doing it? How are you feeling out here and not in a race car? And he goes, it's killing me. But there's a great shot right there of the whoop section, and you can see the tires on that blue groove. The tires really hook up, but if there is any water that's thrown down on that, it's just like racing on ice. So the blue groove is really making their tires hook up.
Yeah, the number 14 there of Canberra Kirchmeyer, 27 years old, out of Arlington, Texas. Talked about her having a great round number 1. Finished up second in both race 1 and race 2. Consequently, comes in here second in the points.
And you can see that she is going through and trying to find the line to see where she can possibly pick up some speed and get past Josie Watkins.
Look at the size difference in those two cars.
And look at her. She's gaining ground right now. She's looking for the pass. They have 2 laps remaining.
Josie Watkins, the number 16 car right there in front of her, the Polaris RS1.
And again, those Polarises, they're a single seat. They're center of gravity, and it really changes up the driving style. And, oh, we're almost going to see a pass, possibly. Look how close this is getting, Ken.
Yeah, it took that little tighter line. You can see getting off to the left does not want to follow. It's better vision, of course, so naturally you want to do that. Conversely, there's a little bit of draft action in there, too. So if she has a much bigger car, so she can take advantage of a little bit of that draft, it might help her out.
And Josie is just taking this right now. One more lap after this one. Go
Carry
through
that
the
inside rear tire beautifully.
Exactly. Oh,
there it is again. That is right on the ragged edge, and then running a good bit wider line right there.
And that goes to show how much the tires are hooking up, because it's making them lift just a little bit like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's grip. I mean, that's right on the ragged edge. And the car flexing as well. Nice setup inside of it. You want those things to flex a little bit and go to work.
And that's where the grooving of the tires come in handy and everything. Tire pressure, all of the above.
So Josie Watkins taking the white flag. 1 lap yet to go. Kirchmeyer just behind her, lost a little bit of ground there through that complex that you were talking about that is so tricky. It only takes one small mistake. She got up a little bit high, maybe lane 2, 2.5, and lost a little bit of ground there to Watkins. See if she can gain it back. I felt like she was faster than Watkins through turns 1, 2, 3 there. We'll see if she can get some back.
And she has been so tight on her, and we don't even see her in our view of that drone shot right there. So she has fallen quite a ways back.
It's a really nice line there by Watkins. I mean, able to, you don't want to pinch these things off too much, run right down there on the bottom. Might be a little bit slick. It also blinds the car up a little bit more. So sometimes a lane up like that, you're able to carry a little more speed. Beautiful job there through that high-speed left-hander. And then up over the Johnny K's over-under.
And that jump's a little tricky. They're clearing it, but you're going from dirt to pavement. So the littler cars, they're on it, can get a little bit slippery because of the dirt up on top of the concrete.
Good job right there. Drives it in really nice. And that's pretty deep right there. Picks up the throttle. You can see it set the tire back down. I'm sure she can feel that as well. And through the final turn here. Turn number 9, right through the center, looking for the checkered flag. That's how you kick off the weekend. Congratulations to Josie Watkins. That is 3 consecutive wins here to kick off 2023. That's a pretty good start.
There it is, for sure. Just like Kyle Chaney, who, he's on a rail. He's been number 1 in every single race that he's even entered this year. Pretty awesome. So good job to Josie Watkins. Tomorrow, let's see if she can hold on to that number 1 spot and keep it going for the rest of the year.
She's on a roll. She's got plenty of company, though. There's a lot of pressure right there. It wouldn't have taken much of a slip up for Kirchmeyer to step up and take that spot, and that's what we want to see. Great stuff for sure. Another beautiful overhead shot here in Wheatland, Missouri. Beautiful Midwest. The purpose-built drag boat lake up there in the distance as well. Covered grandstands here. You can see those off to the right. and the 1.2 mile track as well. A lot of racing left to go here tonight. So we'll take a quick break here, and we'll see if we can find the winner when we come back and have a chat. Stay with us.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting ready for our winning interview, trackside. Erica has our winner of the last race. Erica, who do you have there?
It seems like you got that wrong. So what do you attribute all this recent success to? I just want to thank my coach, Travis Porter. I literally could not do this without him at all. We came down here for the practice session at the beginning of the month, and we found our lines, and we've just been running our lines ever since. I literally cannot thank Travis enough for any of this.
Well, it seems to all be paying off for you here. We look forward to seeing you in race 2. Congratulations.
I love the passion. Did you check that out? I mean, just the tears were just about there, but not quite. But for the second race of the year, just knowing that the aggression of the driver and the drive and the passion.
Yes, Josie Watkins is definitely an awesome racer out there. She has been doing amazing. She's been on top of every race that she has started this weekend or this year in 2023 so far. Right now, we do have the youth limited 6 to 8-year-old classes coming up. We have Easton Helms in that number 1 position, Luke Anderson number 2, Paxton Shamilton in the number 3 position.
We also have Blaine Singleton, Alexander Walraven. I know you're going to do this to me because you make me call some of these names. Would be Atlee Yashimoto and Nolan Hartzell. And I really like these classes because more times than not, if you're able to really look inside the cockpit, all you see are just the little knuckles on top of the steering wheel and the tops of the helmets. Right. They're so tiny in these race cars, but yet they're incredibly safe.
They all have to wear same exact safety gear as grown adults have to do. Xander Walraven, who is going to be starting in the 118, he raced last weekend in Rush, Kentucky as well in the kids class for the Ultra 4 USA series, and he ended up going home with the trophy. But he's been a very well seasoned. He's a little tiny tot, as I call them, tiny tots. But he's out here racing again this weekend, getting lots of seat time in. But we can see the AOE Pace Truck taking them around. They do have a little bit different of a track, too. They are not running the full track that the larger cars run. And again, this is the youth limited 6 to 8-year-old. And you can see that they're waving off the Pace Truck now.
Looks like it might be a standing start.
looks like.
It does look like they are going to do
it'll be
that.
a standing start. I tell you, that pace truck is so gorgeous. I'm not a little truck kind of guy, but that thing looks neat.
Yes.
Jeez.
You can
little
see
Ford Ranger.
Race control down there, getting them all lined up. They'll be taking the green flag.
So it looks like, what's exciting about this, we talk about the safety of these cars. And oftentimes, when they're a rolling start with the little cars like this, they still stay grouped up.
Mm-hmm.
But when you line them up like this at a land rush start, they have a tendency to separate before if they got a long enough run, they'll separate before they're going to turn one. So you lessen the danger of tire hopping the tires and things like that, getting into each other. But no, I kind of like this standing start.
I do like it too. It's a lot of fun.
It creates, well, there's another reason why this is being done. I think you know where I'm going with this. It's really, really hard to control little tiny kids in a race car when it comes to a rolling start. They're going to jump way early, and then you have to come all the way back around. Here we go. We got, he's giving them the one final thumbs up. The Jeep driver is giving the thumbs up in return. Green flag is out. We're underway into turn one.
All right. We do have 7 cars that just took the green flag out there. And it looks like Luke Anderson in the number 2 already hopped out in front.
Yeah, see, look how they're separated. Coming through turn 1 and coming out of 2. But, yeah, you can see the abbreviated track right now. It kind of zigzags through the grassy infield. And I didn't have a chance to watch them in qualifying earlier today. But, yeah, they get to go through the tunnel.
Yes, they just are not going to be doing the big old 120-foot tabletop jump right there. And that right there is a 111 of Easton Helms. I misspoke. That is not Luke Anderson that I thought got the jump out there. So Easton Helms out front right now.
Well, what's it like for you? You're a race mom. Your guy was in something like this when he was younger and worked his way through the ranks. And now has a brand new car. You guys have a brand new car for him. What's it like to see these little kids up here and work their way up front as well?
It's pretty cool. And I have to say that I always say that the kids that are doing this, they're out here racing, they are the ones that are going to be the good drivers out on the roads. They should be, because they know how to drive. They're out here racing. They're letting their speed go on the racetrack. And that is the number 37 right there, Paxton Chamblin, and the 612 of Ashi Yoshimoto.
You got it. You got it.
I need to put my glasses on, Scott.
I came prepared. I'm looking through very dusty reading glasses, but I'm able to see things. Yeah.
Atlee Yoshimoto. So Blaine Singleton out on track. His sister was just out on course right before him. And there we do have, again, there is Atlee Yoshimoto. And Paxton Chamblin. Look at the little kids. I always call them the tiny tots. This class right here, they are the future of the sport. And like I was saying, Xander Walraven, he was out last weekend racing. He's racing the MAO series, and he's also racing the Ultra 4 series for the kids. And there is a 111 right there. Easton Helms still out front.
I'm looking at the lap times right now. In the last lap, Chamblin had the fastest lap time by quite a bit, almost half a second. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. It's hard to tell right now if he's the fastest car on the track or not, but there's so much separation. These kids are almost kind of qualifying, because there's nobody around them. They got a clean track. And as soon as I say that, we've got a little action right here between Helms and Anderson.
Yeah, that's Anderson and Paxton Chamblin.
Oh, it is?
It is. The number 37, that ARD. ARD, they come out here with full force, too. They come out with a trailer with multiple cars on it. Easton Helms has quite a lead out there on the whole entire pack. Has just gotten in a whole other zip code.
Second and third, yeah. That happens once in a while. We talked about this last weekend. I was at the Great American Short Course in Southern California, and it was like clockwork almost that the youngest kids just absolutely run away from each other. There was no tight racing, and the thing is, we should also mention that they're also are hooked up with spotters. They got spotters. Head and neck restraints all the way from head to toe, the safety equipment that he started to mention, but more importantly, the spotters. And oftentimes, I like to sit in the grandstands, I don't even look at the race. I watch Mom and Dad, the spotters, up in the grandstands.
Well, and the other thing, too, is I'm not sure if the little guys, there's the white flag coming out right there for Easton Helms. Right behind Easton, though, look at the ground that Paxton Champlin has made up right behind Easton Helms. So we'll see. If white flag is out, you know Mom and Dad's up there, whoever's spotting, saying, get on it, get on it.
Forth, yeah. And the thing is, this is such a cool class. They're not going very fast, so you'd think the kids are bored. Oh, heck no. Their butts are only about 3 inches off the ground. But what's key about this is they're learning driving. You don't go into the turn and throw it sideways like a sprint car, scrub up all that speed. You're learning how to keep that momentum all the way through the turn, and that carries over into the higher classes. And here comes our leader.
Our leader's coming through. You can see the drone following him. Going to be taking that checkered flag in just a moment is the 111 of Easton Helms. So congratulations, Easton, on that number 1 spot. Luke Anderson in the number 2. Paxton Champlin 3rd. Atlee Yoshimoto 4th. Blaine Singleton in that 4th position, or 5th position. Xander Walraven. And I don't believe Nolan Hartzell. I did not see, well, actually, has a time out there. So yeah, Nolan Hartzell in that number 7 position. So congratulations to everybody out there on race course just now. You know that they're going to go back and say, that was so much fun, I want to do it again. Well, guess what? They get
and
to.
What's cool about this, about a half hour from now, once they get out of the fight, they might even keep the fire suits on. But they'll be playing catch with the football or baseball, or tonight flashlight tag in the pits.
Right.
And that's so neat because it's like we always talk about it. It's the family atmosphere in short course racing. Well, let's take a step aside real quick. We'll be back in just a moment with, I think, our winning interviews.
No matter what, it's never an easy event, and it never will be, and that's what makes King of the Hammers King of the Hammers. Tire choice is everything. I mean, to have a tire that's reliable and consistent and drives well out in the desert, but yet when we get to these crazy rock sections, still has grip and performs, and we can hit these sharp, jagged edge rocks and not have a problem, is what we need. And the Rockzilla is definitely our second to none when it comes to the UTV tires. And it just speaks traction. It's got big lugs hanging off the side. It's got big lugs down the side of the sidewall of the tire. If you're going to look for something that makes traction and is going to grip in rocks and dirt and everything, you look at a Rockzilla and go, man, that thing looks like it's going to do the job right there.
Welcome back, everybody, and this is going to be kind of fun right now because we're going to go trackside with Erica Allred, who's got our winner, Easton Helms, trackside.
Our unofficial race 1 winner in Youth Limited 6 to 8, Easton Helms. Easton, not only did you win that race, but you won that race by 14 seconds. What did it take to find this top spot today?
I was fast.
What section were you fast in, Easton?
Coming out of the tunnel.
You certainly found a lot of speed there. Congratulations on the big win. We'll see you back in race 2.
Well, thanks a lot, Erica. And I'm telling you right now, the hardest interview for any talent, on-air talent, are the little ones.
Oh, those are my favorite.
You get yes and no. I don't know. Yes, no, I don't know.
They're getting well-rounded. They're racing a lot, but no, they're a lot of fun. I actually love interviewing the kids. Erica just did an amazing job. Next up is our race, Youth Limited 9 to 12-year-old, and we're going to take a break here in just a moment, but we'll be right back with you with the Youth Unlimited 9 to 12-year-old right after this.
When it comes to suspension tuning, there's only one name we trust: Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
Why can't tomatoes win a race against lettuce?
Why?
Lettuce is always ahead, and tomatoes always trying to catch up.
You know, I was in the bar the other day, and a girl asked me what I did for a living. So I told her I race cars, and she screeched with excitement. She said, "Really, really? Do you win many races?" I said, "No, the cars are way faster."
If there was, said, an octopus race, and as a champion, their grand prize, what do they win? A suction cup.
You know, my mom bet I could make spaghetti. You should have seen her face when I drove right past her.
Oh my god, dude.
I didn't hear the punchline.
When I drove right past her.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Well, welcome back once again, everybody. This is round 2 of the MAO Side-by-Side Championship Series and round 1 of the Mid-America Outdoors Truck Championship Series. And we've had a lot of action here today, and this is only day 1. And we're only partway through it from day 1.
So exciting. You can see right now that is the Youth Limited 9 to 12-year-old class getting their sight lap out there. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be starting the same way we did in the last youth, a land rush start, which is a lot of fun. You were explaining the reasons why. But it's super exciting to see the kids coming out here again in the 9 through 12-year-old class. Some of these kids started out in the 6 to 8, and now they've moved up to the 9 to 12. We will have a 250 class coming up later on as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, too, that we're here at Wheatland, Missouri, and for a lot of these kids out here, they've only been racing Mid-America Outdoors. They've never raced anywhere else. They might have been down in Texas for a couple races there. But for the most part, I think this is the first time that a lot of these kids haven't been anywhere except Mid-America Outdoors.
Right, and then you do have some racers like Code St. Peter. He's raced all over. He's gone to California and done UTV World Championship. Like he's gone other areas. So you do have some kids that have raced, but the ones that only race at Mid-America coming out here and racing at Wheatland, Missouri at the iconic track, that Lucas Oil Speedway that everybody has always wanted to come race at, and here we are this weekend. It's pretty awesome. They're, like we were talking about earlier on in the show, you know, we're getting the track ready at Mid-America for the new race course, which I cannot wait to see. I'm super excited. I'm thinking about driving through and looking at it on my way home from here. But we do have 10 cars that will be taking the green flag today. We do have the number 8 of Slade Dowden, the number 158 of Declan Shields, the 44 of Tucker Berza, 91 of Mia Cotto, 56 of Avery Sides, and the 190.
Yeah, can I be honest with you? I can't see that.
Okay, I'll finish it out. And then we have the 190 of Alexandria Easton, the 356 of Camden Ledbetter, 85 of Stefano Calagru, 185 of Addison Calagru, and the 126 of Carson Hill.
And green flag is underway as they make their way to turn 1. Still 5 wide. This is going to be interesting.
This is where the spotters come in handy.
Exactly. That's where I was starting to go. Nice call on that one. And, yeah, you can see there was a little bit of advantage being kicked out.
And that's Slade Dowden on the left side there. Getting past, I can't quite make out that number. I believe it was the 150. I think it was the 158 of Declan Shields.
So Slade is actually in second place, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in second.
Great shot right there. That is at the over-under.
How cool is that? They race through a tunnel.
All right, we'll make out who that is. I believe that is, though, the 158 of Declan Shields in that number 1 position. Yes, it is. And then that is
Avery Sides, Miyakato, Alexandra Easton, and the rest of the field comes through with Stefano Calagru and Camden Ledbetter, Addison Calagru, and Carson Hill. Kind of surprised by Carson because he's usually a front runner actually towards the top. He finds himself dead last on the field right now. The thing that can be nerve-wracking sometimes for the spotters / parents is these are open wheel cars. And sometimes when the racing is tight and there's action in these tight corners, they'll touch tires, and next thing you know, boom, they're on their sides, they're on their lid. But again, when was the last time you saw one of these kids do a rollover and the track crew didn't go out there, went out there and whistle them up onto their wheels, and they just took off again?
Exactly. They don't have any fear. They flip over, they get back, put on their tires, rubber side down, and get going again. But we do still have Declan Shields in that number 1 position with Slade down in second. It's anybody's race, though. You're talking about Carson Hill. I mean, it's anybody's race still. It's a long race. They have 3 laps remaining. But, yeah, this is super awesome to see these kids out here racing this track. And you can tell these kids are a little bit older. They have a little bit more experience possibly driving. And
well, here's the thing that you can keep in mind is the muscle in those arms. They don't have power steering, so they're just whistling these cars back and forth. And as they get older and the classes move up, they get stronger, can handle that.
Exactly. And that right there is the 44 of Tucker Berza.
Right now running in the top 3.
I'm not sure if his razor is purple or like a royal blue, but it has a gold color to it too. It's a pretty cool looking scheme. But great drone footage right there by our drone pilots. We have an amazing team out here this weekend between our production, our drone, everybody, the track crew, USAC, Billy and his whole entire crew. And they are going through that Lucas Oil Speedway under. Still running a tight ship right there, though. Declan Shields is not letting up and trying to keep that number 1 position, but you can see Slade down and what he's doing. He's looking.
I think the white flag is coming out this time by.
Yeah, Slade's looking. The parents, here's another thing. You're saying that the parents are the ones spotting. Parents don't always spot for their kids because kids usually listen to other people. I know my kid does. My kid would listen to you on the radio, more than me, but that's just the way kids are. But sometimes they have a spotter set up that comes out to the track with them. But there's a battle going on right there.
Whoa, little skatey. That's going to tighten up. That's a battle for the win right there. between Shields and Dowden is right on that back bumper, just a few turns remaining. Whoa, they made contact. And that may be all that Shields needs to kind of stretch it out to a 2, maybe 3 car length lead.
They're lucky they didn't get hooked up, because what happens sometimes with these bumpers, they'll get hooked up and then they both get stuck, and then they have to have the track crew come out and get them unstuck.
There's that checkered flag. Declan Shields will add, look at that excitement.
That is super exciting. So Declan Shields in that number 1 spot, Slade Dowden in the number 2, Tucker Burrs the 3rd.
Avery Sides, Miyakato, Alexandra Easton. And I just wonder what kind of amped him up into all that excitement, because he's won plenty of races before, but is it because we're here at Wheatland, Missouri? Is it that close entanglement there towards the end with, two turns to go? And he came out clean? I mean, it could be anything, but yeah, it was cool to see that excitement. So we'll be right back with the winning interview and Declan Shields right after this.
Trust. Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
Well, welcome back, everybody, once again, as we're getting ready for our next race. It's a Youth 250 Modified, and we start to amp it up a little bit, Pam, with the speed, the aggression, the skill level. The kids are a little bit bigger, so a little bit stronger, and still that other factor, no fear.
Exactly. No fear at all. We do have 11 cars that will be taking the green flag here. We will run through our lineup here. We will have Paxton Yoshimoto, Declan Shields, Code St. Peter, Tanner Thompson, Hayden Graham.
And then we also have Lane Yeager, as well as Elliot Thomas, Avery Sides, Grayson Popper, and Kara Kars. Okay, Casey Myers and Kennedy Singleton.
I'm sorry, I forgot you can't see the screen. Oh my God.
No problem. But I did notice one thing. Code St. Peter's not starting on the pole.
Code St. Peter, he is a fast little kid. He's the one we were talking about last. He races all over. His dad races in, with trucks and everything, the best in the desert. But yeah, he's not on number 1 on the box. But it's still not over this weekend.
Oh no! I expect to see him in the lead by the first. And the thing is, I remember one of the winning interviews I had with him last year, and I made a comment while we were talking, and I said, what do you think would happen if you stayed in this car and raced on the track, your dad in his car? I'd beat him. And yeah, he was totally serious.
Well, he would be. So Tanner Thompson, he is one of our MAO ambassadors as well. So he's out here starting in the number 4 position. Kennedy Singleton, that Singleton name keeps coming up. There's a lot of Singletons out here. And with the Singletons, they're definitely coming out here with full force.
Yeah, as we get ready to go for this next race and we talk about it. So let's see. Should be green flag coming out in just a moment. They're lined up at the starting line. Oh, not yet. There we go. Rolling them off. There we go.
They do
Gosh, I love that pace truck. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Ford.
Yes, they do this sight lap. It's all wrapped with the AOE wrap on there.
Once again, this is the 250 Youth 250 modified, so considerably quicker than what we saw just a moment ago. So as we get ready for the lineup, as they come up towards onto the track, we're going to step aside real quick with a few words from our sponsors, and we're going Youth 250 modified in just a moment.
comes to suspension tuning, there's only one name we trust: Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
We're just about ready for our next race, which once again is a U250 modified. And they're lining up. We got two more cars to line up. And this is where it's going to get tricky. We got faster cars, bigger kids, and two full rows of competitors going into that turn one. Outside of who's going to be pulling the whole shot, that I'm just going to go on a limb here and really just like, I don't know for sure. But yeah, that orange car dead center in the middle, I have a funny feeling will be showing the way around. As soon as our flag man tosses that green flag. And one of the coolest things, almost makes me wish I was a flag man, because it's like I love looking into the cockpit of these drivers, and that flag man will give them a thumbs up right down the line, and the drivers better give them a thumbs up in return, otherwise they're not going to go. You can see it right there. They're nodding, thumbs up. That is such a cool shot. Watch this. As they get ready to go into turn one.
He's just making sure. Are you good?
Look
Are you
at that.
good?
I don't think so, Holmes. Yeah.
Back it up.
Wait, these things have reverse?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
Yes, they do. And we have 8 cars out there going to be taking the green flag here in just a moment, making sure they're all good. Now, these are modified class, so he's going to throw that flag, when he gets off the side a little bit more.
Yeah. They're better. Oh, gosh.
No,
are you kidding me?
10 cars that took the green flag. I was going to say, Scott, I'm not putting my money on anybody. These kids have been practicing. They've been getting seat time. They've been on doing other races as well. And that is Shields right there that has taken that number 1 spot with Code St. Peter in second.
When was the last time that St. Peter didn't pull the whole shot.
Yeah, well, that's Declan Shields that just did, and he did well. And Coach St. Peter is still in that second spot right there. Tanner Thompson just went by the screen there. He's an MAO ambassador. And look at how close those three were that went through the tunnel right there. But there is Declan Shields in first position, Coach St. Peter in second.
Yeah, and the thing is, here's the deal. We've got faster cars, so there's more work put into them as far as the motor, the power plant, but tires are starting to become very, very important with something like this. As you can see them, our leaders just reefing on that steering wheel, shifted way wide outside of the corner.
And we call it the marbles.
Yeah. And still, no Coach St. Peter. I think since I've become involved all of last summer and the first race this year, I think there's only 2 races that Coach St. Peter didn't take the win. One, I know he dropped out. Actually, he may have dropped out of both of them. But there's only the 2 times, I should say, that he hasn't won the race. So he's got a heck of a resume and a lot of trophies on that wall back home.
Oh, yes, he does. And Declan Shields still out front, Coach St. Peter second. Paxton Yoshimoto, he's 56.
There we go. Yeah, Avery Sides is one of them. 855 of Yeager is another one. And it's hard to tell if they're hooked up and bumpers locked or whatever, but they're definitely not on the way. But, one of the coolest things about Declan, I love that name. It's different. I can't tell you if I know anybody else in the country, adult or kid, that has that name.
And there you see them going by the 2 tangled up right there of the 855 of Lane Yeager.
Yeah, they're still hung up. Oh, man.
It's unfortunate. It's a long race, but it's a short race all in one. So we still have Declan Shields in that number 1 position. But you were talking about the tires. We were talking about the tires earlier on with the larger cars. It's so key. These guys too. They cut the tires and they groove the tires for different track conditions. And the track conditions all day long have completely changed from this morning.
Yeah, look at him. Look at Shields right now, seesawing back and forth on that steering wheel. That is not, as we've got the yellow flag, I believe it's for those 2 cars that are tangled up still. But, he's still, that's not helping his speed right now. He's seesawing back and forth. I don't even think they slowed down for the yellow. That's hard to tell, but, and here's one thing I noticed about Coach St. Peter. He's sliding sideways a little bit. He's kind of fishtailing through those corners, thinking that he can just pitch it and maintain that speed through the turns, and I think that is slowing him down quite a bit.
And it looks like Coach St. Peter actually has the fastest lap of a 43.479 over Declan Shields, who is at a 43.597. And that was the 57 right there that we just saw.
Caden Graham, he just got hung up. 2 cars took off that were tangled up, and he was in the middle of it. And unfortunately, he got punted sideways. But how about this? This is at the checkered flag. This is coming for the win. Coach St. Peter's kind of coming out of nowhere and getting aggressive with just a turn or so remaining.
That's where you're turning it up.
Yeah.
Your spotter's telling you better get on it. You have 2 or 3 turns left.
Some more excitement for our winner, Declan Shields. He'll take the win. Coach St. Peter will take second. And what a battle, as Paxton Yoshimoto will take the final podium spot. And I believe it's Tanner Thompson. He'll be in the 4th spot. Caden Graham should be coming around. Oh, we got a little battle going on for 5th, 6th, and 7th as they come back onto the front stretch.
Almost got that pass. Can't quite see who that was just now, but was right there.
So Caden Graham will round out the top 5 as the rest of the field comes around. That's Grayson Poppert and Kennedy Singleton, 6th and 7th. I believe that's going to be Ruby Howell in that 8th position coming across the line. Yes, it is.
And then we saw Avery Sides and Lane Yeager. They were tangled up, but they were going still. So they'll just come on through and get that green or that checkered flag as well.
Well, let's kind of hang tight for a second. We'll be right back after this with our winning interview and Declan Shields. track getting ready for what could be a winning interview. But here's the thing about that. A lot of times, 3-4 times a day, these kids aren't used to being interviewed, and they'll just drive right by you.
Right, exactly.
They'll look at you. There'll be eye contact. You'll show them a microphone, and they'll just keep on going.
Now, they do have to go through the tech area, and so we're doing our interviews after that. The tech is something you have to do every time you come off the track and before you go on the track as well. So that's key. So they have to come off. We have set up right there. Eric has been over there getting our drivers' interviews. But next up off the line that will be lining up here in just a moment will be our youth and stock class. We will have 9 kids in that class. So we are just waiting to see if we get that interview here in just a moment while we're getting the next race all ready. And that you can see right there, there's the youth stock getting their parade lap around. They will take them to the front stretch and get them lined up.
You can see the cars are out there parading around, getting ready for the lineup. They'll be take a few moments to get lined up. A standing start. Well, let's go down to Erica Allred, who's got our winner, Declan Shields.
Our unofficial race winner, Declan Shields. Declan, not only did you just win the Youth 250 Modified, but you also won the Youth Limited 9 to 12. Why do you think this track was such a good fit for you today?
I think it's really good for me because I've been doing short course all my life, and I'm just really, I'm really good at it because I've been doing it for years.
I would definitely say you're good at it. Congratulations on both wins. We'll see you back here for race 2.
Thanks a lot, Erica. And if you noticed, I know he's raced a lot, but I didn't know it was that much because all those stickers on the A-pillar are tech stickers that he's passed in prior races, and he's got a whole lot of races on a whole lot of stickers on his car.
Yes, and that's a trophy in itself right there, having those stickers on the car. It's kind of like, racers when you get your helmet teched at certain racing associations. Those stickers are a trophy. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people keep their helmets whenever they get new ones after so long. But it's pretty cool to see these young kids that have been racing for so long, which you can see right now. That is our youth stock getting all lined up right there. And we are going to go through our lineup really quick. We have on the number 1 spot Carson Hill, in the number 2 spot Emily Fowler, Haiti Cowan, Caden Vanover, Ruby Howell. Do you want me to finish it, Scott?
Aiden Bellinger, as I squint my brains out. Lane Plummer, Charlie Thomas, and Tyson Raby, I can't see.
And our lineup is brought to you by Ultimax Belts. And there again, right there is the AOE truck. But that is Brian Atkinson. He's been up in our flag stand all day long, so give him a huge shout out. It's fun out there being the flag guy, making sure these races get started on time with the flags, checkered flags coming out. It's a job in itself up there in the flag stand.
Yeah, as we get ready for the green flag to fly real quick, we just been notified that tonight's Pro Light race has been canceled, or I should say pushed back to tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. The Pro Lights will be coming out, so they'll be doing a whole lot of track prep, getting ready for tomorrow morning's 9 a.m. Pro Light race. So they're going to be racing twice tomorrow. The Pro Lights, so that would be kind of cool. There's that final thumbs up. Each driver's giving a thumbs up in return. How cool is that? Green flag is out. We're on our way into youth stock A main, turn number 1. Oh, already a hole shot. Oh my gosh, here we go.
Hole shot by Fowler right there in the 723. That is Emily Fowler getting that hole shot. In that second position is the 121. That one is, let's see here, that is Haiti Cowan in that second position.
And one thing we failed to mention in the prior races, there's a lot of little girls that race in these classes and do really, really well.
And you know what they can do? They can move up into the 800cc class later on. Then we have a youth production 1000 class, and then these young ladies, we have women's classes that they can just go and race with the ladies if they want to and not have to, worry about the boys. But that's where you get into these, being a better driver is you racing against the ladies or the guys, and, they're pushing you to be a harder and a better driver.
You're only as good as your competition, whatever that may be, whatever class you're in, you're only as good as your competition. And right now, we probably have the most competitive race we've had so far this afternoon in the kids classes with 4 laps remaining in the youth stock. How about that? 3 cars in the picture.
Yes, and Emily Fowler came through in that number one spot. Haiti Cowan in the second. Carson Hill third. Caden Vanover fourth.
Ooh. Was that a little bumper there that Carson Hill put on Cowan, and just enough to push her outside? And wasn't able to take advantage of that. Still will fall back to third once again. But look how tight first, second, and third is.
And if they stick like that this whole entire race, you know, usually when you're battling with people, that gives the people that are behind you in the race a chance to catch up, because you're battling and you're trying to keep your spot, and that can technically slow you down.
Yeah, there'll be 3 laps remaining this time by the start-finish line. And right now, this is helping the leader as well. The mirror's full of 2 cars, but those 2 cars in second and third are battling each other. And you can see a little bit, maybe another car length separation from first to second.
And Feller is pulling away right here. It comes down to the turns. Who is not letting up in the turns so much? And look at that right there. Carson Hill trying to make a pass in that turn. And
did it the hard way, all the way around the outside.
Got by Haiti Cowan. Now taking
maybe. Yep, there it is. That's got to be a spotter helping right there. 2 passes made within, what, a quarter of a lap on the outside of these turns.
Right, exactly. It looks like Fowler was kind of slowing up just a little bit, but I think that Carson Hill just turned up the heat.
Yeah, maybe he was, just checking things out, kind of just finding his rhythm. 2 laps remaining this time by, but yeah, he's absolutely pulled away. I don't know what happened. Maybe he's just being too patient, and maybe his dad or his spotter was holding him back a little bit. Easy, don't get close kind of thing. Take him on the outside because they like the inside. I mean, whatever the spotters may be saying.
Right.
Obviously worked.
What's rule number 1 of racing?
Listen to your spotter.
Well, one of the rules. It's not really technically a rule, I guess I should say, but you can't win the race in the first turn.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
So he just waited just a little bit and turned it up, and here you go. First place right now. Unofficially on the track, you have Carson Hill, Emily Fowler, and Haiti Cowan running 1, 2, and 3.
How about Haiti? I mean, she's putting it. So check this out. As we earlier in the race, from third to first, here's pass number 1. That will be for second on the outside. There's even a car width between second and third making that pass. And now for the lead.
That is quite a pass right there.
That was the AMSO replay. And you know what? We want to thank AMSO for being involved with the Mid-America Outdoors and the Side-by-Side Championship Series, but I think Mom and Dad are buying Carson a big old ice cream cone here tonight. Man, for that kind of racing, wow.
And we have 1 lap remaining in this race this afternoon. Fowler in that number 1 spot. I'm sorry. Fowler's in that number 2 spot. And then we have Cowan in that number 3 spot going underneath into that tunnel. How cool is it to go racing through that tunnel right there?
Yeah, I can't imagine Pro 2s and Pro 4s, let alone a couple of Pro Lights going side by side through that thing. And you know these guys don't like to check up coming into that tunnel. That means you're relegating the position to somebody else. But just a few turns remaining onto the front stretch, the main straightaway. And the checker flag's in hand as Carson Hill will take the win. Fowler will take second, and Haiti Cowan. And we got a car on its side.
Can't quite make out the number of that car, but we do. That is one of the last turns before they come into the finish line.
Well, whoever it is will be coming across the line last.
Unfortunate right there. Aiden Ballinger would be in that 5th position. We'll see who it is, but that was the 31. It looked like that just went by of Ruby Howell. So Ruby Howell's still moving. We'll get a number here. That is the 2011 of Aiden Ballinger. Unfortunate on their side on the last lap.
Yeah, oh man.
And it happens. And there, right there is the 127. That is Tyson Raby.
I'm thinking Carson Hill should just take his ice cream cone tonight and give it to him. Tough break award right there.
One thing about the little tiny tots out there racing, their cars are so small they don't have to get out a winch to get them put back over on their rubber side down.
As the rest of the field crosses the line, completing their 5-lap race. That's the 127.
The 127 of...
Is that Tyson?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, how's that flag man with the style, the little body language? You need to go this way.
Yes. Style points.
There's a Lucas Oil Speedway track crew. We want to thank them for being involved this weekend as well. Some of the best in the business. And by the way, we're going to be racing out here again tomorrow, but I'm excited about for tomorrow night, where we have their normal Saturday night shows over there at the Oval.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see me some Midwest late models.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I actually grew up around circle track racing with my dad racing in dirt track, but I've never seen a Lucas Oil race before circle track. So it's going to be super exciting to go watch that racing.
Well, we'll step aside real quick and come back with our winning interview with Carson Hill and Erica Allred.
No matter what, it's never an easy event, and it never will be, and that's what makes King of the Hammers. Tire choice is everything. I mean, to have a tire that's reliable and consistent and drives well out in the desert, but yet when we get to these crazy rock sections, still has grip and performs, and we can hit these sharp, jagged edge rocks and not have a problem, is what we need. And the Rockzilla is definitely our second to none when it comes to the UTV tires. And it just speaks traction. It's got big lugs hanging off the side. It's got big lugs down the side of the sidewall of the tire. If you're going to look for something that makes traction and is going to grip in rocks and dirt and everything, you look at a Rockzilla and go, man, that thing looks like it's going to do the job right there.
Well, we're back once again as let's see our next race coming up with the Vet 40 Plus Turbo. But while we're waiting for that to take place, let's step aside once again and have our winning interview with Erica Allred and our winner.
Unofficial winner in youth stock, Carson Hill. Carson, a well-deserved win for you here today. What did it take to find the top spot in race one?
I don't know.
How was that race for you, buddy?
Really, really well. It was really smooth out there. The track, the car went really well. Yeah.
It seemed like you were able to put it all together here today. Congratulations on the race. We'll see you back out there.
Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Erica. And you know what? She's shall we say, getting adept at how to interview these little ones, and that is not an easy feat. I wouldn't want to be out there. I've been plenty of times, but no, I like to have them up on stage where you kind of ask them goofy questions, and their parents are right there, and they stare at their parents, and then their parents make them laugh, and all that kind of stuff. But our next race, Vet 40 Plus Turbo. Very fast guys. I mean, and some of the names in this race are pretty darn cool too. The guy that's on the pole is Rusty Pipes, and that is his real name. No kidding.
He's super awesome. He's a really nice guy out there. Really good friends with Mr. Lee Knowles. But we have Rusty Pipes out there in that number 1 spot. Chris Donald in the 2nd position. Matt Hecker in the 3rd. Mike Buckafusco in that 4th position. Bruce Davidson 5th. Jeff Johnson 6th. Dan Hill 7.
Michael Pritchard is he'll be starting that 8th spot, number 90. Kevin Hall is out there in the 46th, 39th, and Sean Murphy will start dead last in the field, in number 39. We'll come back in just a moment with the green flag of our Vet 40 Plus Turbo right after this.
When it comes to suspension tuning, there's only one name we trust, Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Ready for any challenge. Maxxis tires can handle even the most punishing off-road conditions. Maxxis tires. Tread victoriously.
Hey, we're back once again, getting ready for the Vet 40 Plus Turbo Division. Once again, you know what? These guys are like a bunch of Hollywood actors out there, man. It's like, yeah, do we want to race? No, I don't want to try my car. Well, that means I have to wash mine too. And they've all got their excuses, but yet every driver out there has busted their butts during the off season and since the round one to get these cars in pristine condition to race today. Come on, guys, put the helmets on. Let's go racing. Vet 40 Plus.
Yes, and we will have 10 cars taking that green flag. But, you know, you're talking about that. Race prep is everything. You find little things in the car. Sometimes you might have a loose bolt that you didn't realize you had. You know, you paint mark and make sure that it doesn't move whenever you're out on the track. Practice is key. Qualifying is key. I mean, iconically, last weekend at the Ultra 4 USA race, caught up with a racer that had broke down on race course out pre-running. I mean, pre-running, qualifying is kind of the same thing. Yeah. But, yeah, it's definitely key to come out and get seat time.
One of the things we never covered is the fact that, you know, these drivers are aware of the weather conditions, the barometric pressures, the humidity levels, all those different kind of things, and they note it. You know, what tires they ran, the rubber compound, the tire grooving. They make notes of the most detailed things of what worked and what didn't work. Coming here to Wheatland, there's no notes.
Right.
Majority of these guys have never raced here before, so they have nothing to go off of. So it's kind of like, it's cool because everyone's got a clean slate. They have no idea right now what works and what doesn't work. And it looks like this is going to be a rolling start, unlike what we've had previously with the kids' classes. But looks like they're going side by side, rolling start, coming out of that final corner, going way out to the outside, not kind of peeling inside through the infield like the kids did. They're going outside of turn one. Yep, that is such a neat shot. My gosh. Real quick, what's our lineup?
We have Rusty Pipes in that number one position, Chris Donald in second, Matt Hecker in third, Mike Buckafusco in fourth, Bruce Davidson fifth.
We got Jeff Johnson starting in that sixth spot, Dan Hill and Michael Pritchard will start seventh and eighth, and ninth and 10th will be Kevin Hall and Sean Murphy as they come out of that final corner. Our pace truck is right now on top of that tabletop jump aimed at the start-finish line, and our flagman is in the tower getting ready to wave the green.
And speaking of the rolling starts like this, Rusty Pipes sitting on that pole position. He is controlling this start right now. There's a certain area that they can, gas down, and it's all about him, and they have taken the green flag.
Looks like Chris Donald pulls the whole shot going to turn one. Still pretty tight, but yes, Donald will pull the whole shot.
And Mr. Rusty Pipes in that number two position. Right now, Mike Buckafusco, talking to him this morning, he doesn't only race out here. He actually works with the whole entire Billy Champion crew out on the track with everybody. And so he was super nervous about coming out and racing this track because he said he's never had nerves like he had this morning before he went out on track.
Well, we just got notice that Rusty Pipes came out in practice earlier today, watered us up his car pretty bad to the point where he's out there in a backup car right now running second. So nice backup car.
You know what? Hey, if you have the trailer for it and you have it sitting at home, that's awesome to have is a backup car. Bring it out here, and as long as it passes tech, there you go. But you have number 10 of Donaldson right there, Chris Donald in that number one position. And Rusty Pipes, you can tell that car is no stranger to him, though, because he's running in that second position.
Yeah, look at it. He's ducking to the inside, kind of taking a peek there right here. Coming through the corners, got the inside line, sets him up for the outside through the turn, and he'll complete the pass. Rusty Pipes, our brand new leader, as they enter into the tunnel.
Definitely no stranger to racing. He came from circle track racing back in the day, and now he's out here racing side-by-sides.
So we're going to see what this backup car now has for Rusty Pipes. As he's got a pretty good lead right away, but 3-4 car lengths. You know, it could come down to such a simple thing. This track has just absolutely gone away, and the fact is, it could be coming down to a simple thing of tires and tire grooving. If you find the right compound, softness or the hardness of the rubber, is it too soft? You got them up to the lead. Right now, the tires are in great condition. In 2 laps, you can burn them off pretty darn fast if they are too soft.
Yes, and I mean, from this morning when they were out on course, the track is completely different than it was. They threw some water down earlier on today, but the track conditions are completely different than what they had out on practice. But there is Mr. Rusty Pipes going through that whoop section, still in that number 1 position.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they've been out on this track twice today. This morning for practice and then a little bit later for qualifying. And like you said, how do you set the car up for the main event later on that afternoon when over 200 cars have been out on this track since then?
Exactly. We have a record number of entries out here this weekend.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
Pretty darn cool. I mean, this sport is growing. We always say that the side-by-sides, no matter what series it is the fastest growing car count in any racing series. But right there is a great shot of them going through the start-finish line.
We got Mac Hecker right on that 4th spot. But, I fully believe, I'll go back to 2006, 2007, and I fully believe at that time that these four-wheel things were like a fad. All you had were the Yamaha Rhinos. That's it. And sure enough, it went away for, 2-3 years, and all of a sudden, kapow! There's Polaris with something called a Razor, and it just blew up. I have to say that if we didn't have side-by-sides, if we didn't have all these manufacturers involved in short course racing, we'd have no short course racing.
Right, exactly. It's pretty crazy to see where this is all came from and where it's at. And right there, look at the battle going on. Didn't quite catch that
Hecker
number.
and Davidson, I believe.
We got the 31 right there. Yes, of Hecker.
But Rusty Pipes, man, where he just took off and disappeared.
Rusty's time, he has the fastest time out there on the course right now at a 1:24.857. And right there, that is a great shot of Johnny K's over-under. Great camera angle right there.
Yeah, no one's even close. We're talking almost 2 full seconds. No, we're just talking fast laps. And just now, Rusty Pipes, he's getting quicker, 1:23.1. So these guys better step it up. This race is almost over. Is there, 2 laps, just a little less than 2 laps remaining. And you can tell that is a backup car. There's no wrap on it. And that's not like Rusty to have a unwrapped race car.
Yes, he comes out here with his cars always looking amazing. But there's a battle that was going on that just went through the MRT start-finish line. And now they are going through, I believe that is the race line turn 1. Going back on the backstretch right there, going over the 120-foot
Yeah, look at this great
tabletop.
drone shot. Right now, still can't see the other side. Still can't see the other side. Still can't see the other side. And finally, they're able to see the other side. And that's got to be a pucker factor of 10 for these drivers.
I mean, I thought the 80-foot tabletop jump that we had
Oh,
at
please.
Mid-America was large until I came here today. But there's Mr. Rusty Pipes right there.
They're basically almost like slicks, but with just grooves cut in them and a very soft compound. And that's probably the best tire to have on a track like this that's almost blacktop.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's not even blue grooved. I mean, you can see it where it's black, and there's a white flag. Still nobody in the back picture. Nobody in the picture. Nobody in the picture. Rusty Pipes is checked out.
And he just put down his fastest lap of the day for his race at a 1:23.162, and there is nobody even close to his time. 3 seconds roughly off.
3.5.
Pretty crazy. That is the race line turn 1 right there. And there we go. Those big, long, sweeping Talladega.
Whoa, contact, May. Let's see. Triple-digit number. Would that be Hill pulling away in that Can-Am?
That's the 888.
Yeah, Hill. And we missed who they made contact with.
I think it might have been the 27 of Jeff Johnson.
But there's our leader.
He is slowing
Yeah,
down.
what's going on there? He barely got 2-inch lift off that tunnel jump.
You know, he's got such a lead. Maybe he's just letting up just a little bit. You got to
He's
save
kind
the
of doing
car.
his version of neener.
When he's going through the Project X,
Yeah.
whoops right there.
Absolutely outstanding race. I don't even think he could have predicted this thing.
No, that was pretty awesome. I mean, obviously he's had practice in that car because backup cars are usually set up exactly the same. If you have a backup car, you set it up exactly the same as your
Or
other.
you try to, yeah.
You can't have a car set up different and come out here and race, and it's completely different. But there will be the checkered flag right there coming out for Mr. Rusty Pipes.
You gotta love the wrist action on our flag, man, huh? Out there flinging the checkered flag. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah. So Rusty Pipes will take the win as Chris Donald comes around in second. Mike Bacafusco will finish in that final podium spot with Matt Hecker in that fourth position. And I believe that would be Bruce Davidson. Yep, it is. He'll round out the top 5. As the rest of the field comes through, Sean Murphy, Dan Hill, Jeff Johnson. As we had issues with Mike Pritchard and Kevin Hall not making the call. But we've got, again, one more race remaining. He's all, oh, I almost said that was Rusty already out of his car. Jeez. So there's the issue right there with Sean Murphy. He'll not finish this race. He'll leave the track on the hook. Here's the results presented by AMSOIL of our Vet 40 Plus Turbo. Rusty Pipes again will take the win. Donald will finish in that second spot with Bacafusco in our top 3.
What a race.
Yeah, are you kidding me? It was, I wouldn't have predicted it. What a nice looking car there.
That's the 20.
Stars and Stripes.
Jeff Johnson.
There we go, the AMSOIL Vet Plus 40 Turbo. Kevin Hall, Mike Pritchard, Jeff Johnson, Sean Murphy, 7th through 10th. And our top 6 is Dan Hill. Top 5, Bruce Davidson, Matt Hecker, Mike Bacafusco will round out the final podium spot along with Chris Donald in second. And the winner of our Vet 40 Plus Turbo is once again the 47 of Rusty Pipes. We're going to step aside real quick with some words from our sponsors. We'll come back with our winning interview and Eric Allred with our winner. Welcome back, everybody. As we get ready to go down trackside with Erica Allred and our winner, my question is Rusty out of the car and his helmet off?
That I don't know. We shall see.
Our unofficial race 1 winner in the Vet 40 Plus Turbo, Rusty Pipes. Rusty, despite some adversity early on today, you were able to put on a dominant performance in this one. What was the main ingredient putting it all together for this race 1 win tonight?
Well, obviously, Jesus Christ got us here. We broke ours. We had a great performance up front. We broke ours, and then somebody loaned us their car, and I hate to tell you, I think I broke it too. So anyway, we'll be trying to get something else. I've got somebody else that wanted me to drive their car, so we'll have something different for the feature tomorrow. But anyway, we came back big number 1, baby.
Well, we sure hope to see you back out there tomorrow, especially after performance like that. So congratulations on this win. Celebrate this one with your team. If you're here in person with us at Wheatland, Missouri, make sure you stop by our merch trailer to get this limited edition merch. It just arrived. You're going to want to get this one, guys.
Thank y'all.
Well, I'm going to check it out when we get back off after the racing's all done. But how do you like Rusty Pipes? And he was like, all right. Tomorrow, he's got his choice of 3 cars.
Well,
are you kidding me?
That's pretty awesome. I love it. It's super cool because that's where the racing family comes in handy and always comes in and steps up for our racers and everybody here. But right now we do have our women's turbo class getting ready to take the green flag. We have in that number 1 spot Kendra Hoop, number 2 Josie Watkins, 3 Camber Kirchmeyer, 4 Morgan Vanover, 5 Ariel Buzitsky.
Marissa Smith, Brittany Dunn Crisco, Alyssa Graham, Jennifer Mayo, and Crystal Rowden as the green flag flies right away. And we've got some action going through turn 1. And was it the 80? Is that Kendra running up front?
That is Kendra Hoop. She just got past, though. That is Josie Watkins.
Yeah, that's Josie Watkins putting some major pressure on the outside. And I really like what Josie Watkins, she's just a young gal, I believe, still in high school. And the thing is, though, she's all over the social medias. If you don't know what her car looks like by now, and you are following her on the social medias or on Facebook like I am, you ain't paying attention. That young lady is all over it.
Yes, and Kendra Hoop, she's out there in a brand new car for her this season. Actually, her car that she raced in last season is in Brittany Dunn Crisco, and the number 22 is in that car. So there's Kendra Hoop right there, followed closely behind with Josie Watkins. They're both Mid-America ambassadors.
Now, you know a little bit about that. What exactly consists of a Mid-America ambassador?
Well, Mid-America ambassadors, you are promoting the park. They are promoting you. They give you some really cool swag. It's awesome that they have it. But we do have quite a few MAO ambassadors here. We have some that race in the Ultra for USA series as well. But right now on screen, let's look at that. That's what's important. We have Kendra Hoop in that number 1, Josie Watkins in that number 2, and Kathy Kirchmeyer or Camber Kirchmeyer in that number 3 position.
I'm trying to figure out where Kendra is quicker than Josie. I'm not quite able to figure it out, but I think Josie is actually a little bit quicker in the tight turns.
Well,
she reels in our leader, but then on the straight, like right here, pulls up alongside. Did she pull it off? Nope. She has to fall back in line in that second spot. But Kirchmeyer, let's watch it all going on right here in front of her. If there's any issues, she's close enough. If there's any issues with first and second, boom. She's got the top spot.
Yes, and you can see our screenshot of our headshots of all of our drivers right there. And Kendra Hoop is in that Can-Am. Josie Watkins is running in a Polaris. Camber Kirchmeyer is out there as well. So great shots right here of them going over the Johnny K's over-under.
How do you like our production crew? Brand new this year. Driver profile pictures. Very, very neat, man. That's and they did it all here. Today's Friday. If you're here Wednesday, definitely yesterday took all the pictures, and what a neat addition to 2023. Yeah, I guess they were even taking pictures this morning.
Yeah, all the way up. I know they've been working hard and getting everything put in for the drivers. And what's really cool about it, though, is you can put a name to a face. If you don't know who the drivers are, it puts the name to the face.
There'll be 3 laps remaining this time by. Kendra Hoop is in a very, very familiar position right now, and that's running out front. And she has pulled away a little bit. Maybe a 7 or 8 car length lead over Watkins, and Watkins has about the same, maybe a little bit more over Kirchmeyer, and they all 3 of them have pulled away from the rest of the field. It's almost like we're watching a 170 race, the way they're just so separated out there on that track right now. And there'll be 2 laps remaining next time by for our leader.
Yes, and Kendra Hoop is just on a rail up there in that big old huge Talladega turn. And with the blue groove right now, they can just basically drift that track right now. Their tires are hooking up, and right now they are on that back 120-foot tabletop jump.
They are approaching the premise of this track is in so I'll call it black groove. It's not even blue groove anymore. It's black. that slower is faster. Just nice and easy, trying to find that, what I call gription, traction and grip. Down on the inside, yeah, very, very tight up against that tire marker. Lets it drift out, both inside and outside, both the right-hand and left-hand turn. And Watkins just has nothing for Kendra right now.
Not yet, but they do have 3 laps remaining.
Let's check this out. We have a replay of Kendra Hoop earlier in this race with an instant replay. And look how she's drifting way outside. Oh, and she actually hits the end of the wall. Right where it ends, she bounces off. No harm, no foul, but man, if the wall wasn't there, I think she would have gone off track.
Yes, that Amsoil replay was amazing. But what happened is she went from the blue groove up into the marbles, and the marbles are super slippery. Once your tires are hooked up, you get up there and you just slide, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. And there she is right there going through that back section over there of that tabletop jump.
I don't think any of our women right now are going as fast as they normally would, and the track conditions are just not helping that, as she's coming to the white flag lap one more time around as she crosses the start-finish line. Nice looking car for 2023.
Those Project X whoop section right there, you can see the cars are just flowing super soft through there. I do have to say though, you're saying that about the not going as fast, but Kendra Hoop's time is a 1:24.572, so it's not too bad.
Oh no, comparatively speaking, nice side-by-side action there, a little bit further back in the pack, and wasn't able to pick up any numbers. And here comes Kendra for the white flag. One more time around.
Can she hold on to it? It's all about the driving.
I think she's got enough of a lead that if she had an issue in one of the turns and looped it, over-rotated, she still might be able to come out of it with the lead. Not as much of one as she's got now, obviously, but I really think she could do it.
What a way to close out the day. We are here with the women's turbo class. This is our last race of the day since the Pro Turbo or the Pro Light race has been postponed till tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But right now, Kendra Hoop's going to be coming around in just a moment, getting that checkered flag, and that will be wrapping up our day 1 of racing out here in Wheatland, Missouri. But right there, that drone shot right there is showing an amazing view. And that is Josie Watkins. You can see she was on the outside, and she took that apex turn and went back to the inside.
Trying to find that apex. It's a constant search for that traction. One lap it might be the inside. Okay, let me try the outside line in the next lap. And it's a constant search, always searching for that traction.
And look at that. We have the number 14 of Kathy Kritschmeyer. And then 96 of Graham right there that was battling it out. But we will have Miss Kendra Hoop here just a moment, taking that last turn, turn number 9 of the race today in the women's turbo class, taking the checkered flag.
I don't see any fist pumping going on like in the kids out there we had. But Kendra Hoop will take the win. Josie Watkins will finish second. Kirchmeyer third. Top 5 will be Boyarski and Dunn Crisco. There's a nice shot of Kendra Hoop. She had her hair done right before pictures.
Brand new fire suit with her this year as well.
Car, MAO right there on top.
Yes.
Right on camera.
She's out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, as you can see right there. But look at the battle still going on, and somebody just spun out right before going through the over-under.
Trying to find that traction. Let's see.
The
Polaris goes way outside. Drifts through. Lost the traction. Drifts to the outside. And will lose one spot right at the line.
And that was Morgan Vanover and Marissa Smith going through. We have another battle going on right here. Oh, that's past the checkered flag, so there we are.
Well, we're going to stop aside real quick one final time, and we'll be right back with our winning interview and Kendra Hoop along with Erica Alden.
comes to suspension tuning, there's only one name we trust, Double E Racing.
Double E Racing. We help build champions.
Welcome back, everybody, once again for the final time tonight. Let's go trackside once again. Oh, there's the result. Look at that track. How green it is. There's our results right now, our top 10. Once again, Jennifer Mayo and Alyssa Graham, 9th and 8th. 7th, Marissa Smith. 6th, Morgan Vanover in the top 5.
Top 5, we have Brittany Dunn Crisco, Ariel Bayarski, Camper Kirchmeyer, Josie Watkins in that number 1 position, the 917 of Kendra Hoop. And we are going to go down trackside with the winner interview of Kendra Hoop. Take it away, Erica.
Our unofficial winner in women's turbo, Kendra Hoop. Kendra, congratulations on the race win, the race 1 win. Despite kind of having a close call there, you were able to manage that one pretty nicely from start to finish. So take me through that final from your perspective.
From my perspective, I wasn't quite sure on my choice tire. Thanks to MRT, I have a great sponsor with them. We did okay, found a little bit of moisture in the bottom of the track, and then I was able to get a little bit ahead and relax a little bit more. But although it's never relaxing out there, just happy to get the win.
Well, despite the wrong tire choice, you were able to manage quite nicely. Congratulations on the win. We look forward to seeing you in race 2.
All right, thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Kendra, and congratulations congratulations to Kendra, and then thank you again, Erica. She's been outside in that weather, the wind, the sun, all day long talking to our winners. I want to mention once again that tonight's Pro Light race has been pushed back to tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., but we're not going anywhere. We're sticking around because we've got live music right here in the Mid-America Outdoors VIP stage, which is right next to us here on the left. But already track work has begun in preparation for tomorrow's 9 a.m. Pro Light race. Here's the deal. We're going to be live at about 8:50 or so come on back tomorrow morning. We're going to have a great time. On behalf of Pam Hall and myself, Scott Rain, along with Ken Stout, Dave Arnold, Eric Allred, and the rest of the staff here today, we had a blast. We'll see you tomorrow morning at about 8:50.